Chapter 854. Yellow Region Starry Sky. Zhuofang Shinu was stunned when he heard this. He widened his eyes and looked at Wang Kai in surprise. In the end, he even gave him a thumbs up. Big brother Zhuofang and second brother Zhuofang were also full of admiration. You're really awesome. Yellow Region Starry Sky. You actually dared to come to Qian Domain Starry Sky. Respect. Respect. Hearing this, Wang Kai was stunned, and he couldn't help but ask in confusion, what do you mean by that? Choose what? Yellow Region Starry Sky can choose to come to Qian Domain Starry Sky? Swish. As soon as these words were spoken, Zhuofang, Shinu, and the other two were stunned once again. He didn't choose to come here himself? It seems like we guessed right. He chose the wrong place to come to Qian Domain Starry Sky. No wonder his face was so ugly. Zhuofang boss said speechlessly. Yes, it should be so. Yellow Region Starry Sky. Once you reach the Star Venerate realm, you'll be restricted from ascending. At that time, you'll have three choices. One is Qian Domain Starry Sky, one is Earth Starry Sky, and one is Qian Domain Starry Sky. Some people don't want to take risks, so they won't choose the higher one. They'll cultivate in Qian Domain Starry Sky first, then Earth Starry Sky, and finally Qian Domain Starry Sky. Of course, there are also bold people who choose Qian Domain Starry Sky directly. However, there are too few of them. There are also many people who make the wrong choice. It seems like this guy made the wrong choice. As Zhuofang Shinu and the other two conversed, Wang Kai also came to a sudden realization. He didn't expect there to be such a rule in the Starry Sky. Yellow Region Starry Sky couldn't accommodate Star Venerate realm experts. Once they reached this realm, they'd be restricted from ascending. When they ascended, they could choose the heaven, earth, and Qian domains. It wasn't that they had to reach a certain realm to enter, but they could do it on their own will. What realm do experts in Earth Starry Sky need to ascend to Qian Domain Starry Sky? Wang Kai asked curiously, squinting his eyes. Star God Realm, of course. Zhuofang Shinu shrugged his shoulders and said, Yes, Star Emperor Realm Starry Sky. The strongest in our celestial domain are the ruler, the Earth Star God, and the Qian Domain Star Emperor. They represent the three strongest realms of the 10-star realm. Zhuofang Eldest and second Zhuofang Eldest explained. In that case, Ben Xiao's current cultivation realm can only be considered as the strongest in the Qian domain. Oh no, it should be said that it has surpassed the Qian domain's starry skies. Wang Kai frowned and secretly pondered in his heart. It seemed like there were many hidden dragons and crouching tigers in the heaven domain. Now that he was a star emperor, he wasn't one of the strongest. He should be considered the weakest among the strongest. After talking for so long, I still don't know your name. Aren't you being too rude? Zhuofang Shenru said in displeasure. Boss Zhuofang also snorted coldly and said, That's right. If it were someone else, who would have told you so much? That's right. Quickly report your name and become the young mansion master's follower. Compose a few poems for him and enter the 100 Flowers Pavilion to win the heart of a beauty. The second brother of the left pavilion harumphed. Hearing this, the corner of Wang Kai's mouth slightly twitched. After a long time, he finally understood why they were so kind. It turned out that they valued his talent in composing poems and wanted him to help them pick up girls by composing poems. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. Damn it, don't tell me I don't have talent in composing poems? Hearing this, Wang Kai's face darkened. He was extremely dissatisfied with the system's judgment. First of all, you have good taste. It's not that Ben Xiao is boasting, but in terms of composing poems, if Ben Xiao claimed to be second, no one would dare to claim to be first. Secondly, you want Ben Xiao to be your follower? Was your brain kicked by a donkey or a door? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with disdain, Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 4th stage Star Emperor realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the fourth stage, Star Emperor Realm. Swoosh! Hearing those words, Zhuofang Shinu and the two servants were stunned. Soon after, they flew into a rage. Bullsh asterisk T. Do you know who our young mansion master is? He is the young mansion master of the Ni Sword Mansion in Ancient Sword City, the second most powerful force in Ancient Sword City. Zhuofang Shinu and Zhuofang Shinu shouted in unison. Their faces were full of glory. In the end, aren't you just the second brother? To put it bluntly, you are the younger brothers. If you are so capable, why don't you be the boss? Moreover, if you are so awesome, do you need to participate in some competition in Hundred Flowers Valley to win beauties? Why don't you just give the order? Wang Kai said with disdain as he placed his hands behind his back. Hearing this, Zhuofang Shinu and the other two servants were speechless. Indeed, being the second brother did not sound like much. Moreover, even the Sacred Sword Sect, the #1 force in Ancient Sword City, did not have the ability to order the beauties of Hundred Flowers Valley to marry, let alone the #2 Reverse Sword Mansion. However, you don't have to be discouraged. Follow Ben Shao from now on. With Ben Shao around, you can choose any beauties of Hundred Flowers Valley. There is wine in the cup, meat in the bowl. You are all awesome in the sky domain, Wang Kai said proudly with his hands behind his back. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. I almost believed his bragging, Zhuofang Shinu said as the corner of his mouth twitched. Zhuofang Shinu and Zhuofang Shinu's faces stiffened. They stared at Wang Kai as if they were looking at an idiot. They did not expect that this kid would not only not know what was good for him, but he also liked to brag. Young Mansion Master, let's just ignore him. If we let such a braggart enter Hundred Flowers Valley, he will be thrown out no matter how good his poems are, Zhuofang Shinu said softly. Big Brother's right. If we are implicated, we will be severely punished by the clan when we return to the Ancient Sword City. After all, it was not easy for us to obtain this opportunity, said the second brother of the Zhuofang clan. Zhuofang Shinu nodded when he heard this. Indeed, if a braggart like Wang Kai entered Hundred Flowers Valley, wouldn't he become a laughing stock? It was fine to be laughed at by others, but if he angered someone and was labeled as arrogant, then wouldn't he lose all his face? Fighting and killing are not allowed in Hundred Flowers Valley, so I will let you off this time. Goodbye. Zhuofang Shinu cupped his fist together. As soon as he finished speaking, he led Zhuofang Eldest and second Zhuofang Eldest to the Hundred Flower Valley. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes when he saw this. He looked at the fragrant valley with flower petals drifting in the wind and rubbed his chin. He smiled playfully and said, "This is interesting. Ben Shao would like to see how beautiful the so-called beauties in Hundred Flowers Valley in Sky Domain are." Thank you to book friend 1283-227-4428 August Piaohong for the tip. I will add more chapters for you tomorrow. Once again, congratulations to the bragging system for reaching 2 million words. Thank you for your support and love. Chapter 855. Who are you? Do you have a special invitation token? What level is your token? As the three men from the Zhuofang clan approached the empty Hundred Flower Valley, a voice slowly rang out. At the same time, blue astral source energy blocked them outside, preventing them from taking another step forward. Ancient Sword City, Ni Mansion's young mansion master, Zhuofang Shinu. I don't have a special invitation token. Ancient Sword City, Ni Mansion's young mansion master's servant. Zhuofang Shinu and the two men bowed to the Hundred Flower Valley's gate and introduced themselves. All right, you may enter. Wang Kai, who was watching from afar, thought that they would not be able to enter. After all, there was the rule of having a special invitation token. However, the outcome was beyond his expectations. Just by casually announcing one's name, one could enter? Who are you? Do you have a special invitation token? What level is your token? As the three men entered the Hundred Flower Valley, Wang Kai also arrived at the gate. When he heard the repetitive voice, he could not help but raise his eyebrows slightly. Please allow Ben Shao to use a poem to summarize Ben Shao's domineering and awesome life. Wang Kai said with a smile with his hands behind his back. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. Young master, you are very interesting. Since you're in a mood, please come in. Hearing the clear and melodious laughter, Wang Kai narrowed his eyes slightly. With his hands behind his back, he calmly recited, "Hundreds of millions of years have passed. Once I woke up, I laughed at the wind and clouds. I shook the universe single-handedly. I was born in nothingness and left my mark in the mortal world. Today, when I enter the 100-Flower Valley, I will leave my mark in the annals of history." Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 5th grade star Emperor realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 5th grade star Emperor realm. As Wang Kai's voice faded, a notification sounded out. However, the surroundings were so silent that one could hear a pin drop. Wang Kai, who had his hands behind his back and was waiting for the screams of worship, could not help but feel a little awkward. Starry Sky Supreme Mansion? As the Mansion Master, you came from the void? Even intimidated the entire universe? You want to leave your name in the annals of history? Finally, in this extremely awkward moment, that pleasant voice sounded once more, but the words spoken were all questions. Wang Kai was naturally displeased by such a skeptical question. Yes, that's right. Ben Shao shocked the universe and left his name in the annals of history. He indeed came from the void. 30 billion years ago, Ben Shao's title was the Void Emperor. Are you not convinced? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said disdainfully, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points." As soon as he finished speaking, silence fell again. After a long while, that pleasant voice sounded again. "I naturally admire your ability. However, the 100-Flower Valley is a small temple and cannot accommodate a great Buddha like you. Please leave." Swoosh! What the F asterisk CK? An eviction order? Wang Kai's face darkened and black lines appeared on his forehead. The corners of his mouth twitched, and he said fiercely, "You even dare to kick out such an awesome and domineering Ben Shao? Do you still want to stay in the Sky Domain?" Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. However, this time, there was no reply. It was as if Wang Kai was talking to himself. It was extremely awkward. Isn't this a little unfair? Those 3 idiots from Ancient Sword City didn't have any special invitation tokens and were let in by you. Could it be that you're close friends? Wang Kai frowned as he spoke in an unwilling tone. Even if he had the strength to force his way in and was confident that he could suppress the 100-Flower Valley, it was not something that could be solved with strength. After all, it was a matter of face. There are 9 domains in the Sky Domain, and this domain is called the Unbreakable Region. As long as you belong to the Unbreakable Region, no matter how big or small you are qualified to enter. The special invitation token means that you will be treated better than others. As the pleasant voice responded, Wang Kai frowned and muttered disdainfully, "Better than others? Isn't it just a higher probability of winning the heart of a beauty than others? To put it bluntly, it's just a matter of going to a brothel and not having enough money." "Young master, don't talk nonsense here. Please leave quickly." However, in response to Wang Kai's soft muttering, the woman hiding in the dark was extremely angry and scolded him in a delicate voice. At the same time, the surrounding astral source energy became denser and denser. It was as if Wang Kai would be attacked if he did not leave. "You are just a peak star venerable." Sensing the surrounding astral source energy, Wang Kai could not help but twitch his mouth and feel disdain in his heart. Unbreakable Region, the main city of the domain, Wang Kai of the Wang family. "I have a special invitation token, but I won't show it to you." Wang Kai squinted his eyes and made up a story casually. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 6th stage Star Emperor realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 6th stage Star Emperor realm. Whoosh! However, Wang Kai, who originally wanted to use his cultivation to force his way in, could not help but be shocked when he heard the system's notification of the reward. His expression was also very strange. Could it be that in the unbreakable region of the Sky Domain, there was really a main city of the Wang family? The Wang family? Wang Kai. Young master, can you show me the Wang family's bloodline, the sky-burning bloodline? At the same time, the pleasant voice sounded again. This time, it was filled with shock, and even her voice seemed to be trembling. It was as if she was very excited and excited. Sky-burning bloodline? Little did she know that Wang Kai, who heard this name, was also in shock. He definitely did not expect that in the Sky Domain there would be a sky-burning bloodline, not to mention the Wang family. Are you playing with Ben Xiao? Wang Kai squinted his eyes and snorted with displeasure. Who would believe that there would be such a coincidence in this world? Young Master Wang, if you can't show the sky-burning bloodline, I can't let you in. As the voice sounded again, the tone was filled with respect and the word servant, which made the corner of Wang Kai's mouth twitch. Unbreakable region, main city of the domain, Wang family, sky-burning bloodline. Wang Kai frowned and thought for a while. Then, with a wave of his hand, he released the aura of the sky-burning bloodline. Sensing the intense aura that could burn the void, the woman in the dark exclaimed and quickly appeared in front of the valley door. She was wearing a green dress, and her face was like a peach blossom. Her appearance was outstanding and had a refreshing feeling. She looked like she was 18 or 19 years old. Her figure was exquisite, and all the places that should be were extremely beautiful. She was extremely charming. I'm Qiu Yu, a 4th-generation disciple of the 100-Flower Valley. Welcome to young Master Wang. Chapter 856. 4th-generation disciples? Star Venerable Realm? How strong would the 3rd-generation disciples, 2nd-generation disciples, 1st-generation disciples, and even the Valley Master be? Hearing this, the corners of Wang Kai's mouth twitched slightly, and he couldn't help rubbing his nose, looking at her with some surprise before waving his hand and saying, "There's no need to be so polite. The Wang family of the Unbroken Territory is just a small family. This young master has always kept a low profile. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 100 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Small family? How could this be called keeping a low profile? With the sky burning blood. He must be from the Wang family. The Wang family was the 2nd most powerful force in the unbreakable region. Even in the 9 regions of the Sky Domain, they were a well-known family. It was easy to imagine how honorable it was. Young Master Wang is so humble. I admire you. Every year, the 100-Flower Valley will send a Level 1 special invitation token to the Wang family in the domain main city. However, no one from the Wang family comes. I didn't expect young Master Wang to lower himself to come this year. It's an honor for the 100-Flower Valley. The lady in the green dress, Qiu Yu, bowed and said with a sweet smile, "Damn, I didn't expect the Wang family to be so awesome. They were sent a special invitation token every year, but no one came?" Wang Kai grinned when he heard this, and he couldn't help but secretly find it funny. He really wanted to tell her that no one from the Wang family came this year, and it was just a coincidence that he came. "Haha, it seems like you're interested in the Wang family. Tell me, what do you know about the Wang family?" Wang Kai squinted his eyes and smiled. Plop. Wang Kai originally wanted to take the opportunity to inquire, but he saw that Qiu Yu was so scared that her face turned pale. She directly knelt on the ground, her delicate body trembling, and said while shaking her head, "I don't dare, don't dare." Wang Kai was speechless. Looking at her scared face, he didn't ask any more questions. He reached out and helped her up. Star Emperor. Whoosh. When the woman in the green dress stood up and sensed the aura that Wang Kai had unintentionally released, her beautiful eyes widened in shock. He thought it was just an unknown young master of the Wang family. After all, he had never heard of the name Wang Kai. But he did not expect that the visitor was a Star Emperor. Star Emperor, even among the younger generation of the Wang clan, was one of the best. Even the Valley Lord of the Centauria Valley had to admit that she was inferior to him. Young master, please come to the 100-Flower Garden to rest. The adoration in Xiao Yu's beautiful eyes became more and more intense. She reached out her jade-like hand and inadvertently touched Wang Kai's hand. Then, she pretended to be shy and lowered her head. Seeing this scene, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows slightly. How could he not see that this girl was obviously trying to seduce him? Thinking of this, Wang Kai decided to give her some face. He immediately waved his hand and pulled her into his arms. His palm even placed on an inappropriate place. Cough, cough. Soft enough, Wang Kai secretly smiled and said with a serious expression, "Let's go." "Yes, yes, young master." Xiao Yu blinked her beautiful eyes and blushed. While she was shy, her heart was filled with boundless joy. If only she could be with Wang Kai. In the end, Xiao Yu was so happy that she almost fainted. Seeing her like this, Wang Kai could not help but sigh secretly. If she knew that he was a fake young master of the Wang family, she would probably fight him to the death. Umipa. Ben Xiao is so frivolous because her love is too strong. She also hinted to Ben Xiao, "If I don't teach her a lesson, won't she be very sad?" As the gentle and kind Ben Xiao, how can he make a girl sad? This is doing good. Sinful. Sinful. Wang Kai's hands did not stop moving. While he was enjoying himself, he also secretly explained in his heart, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. Illusion? TSK, TSK. Come to think of it, the 100 Flowers Valley has such a beautiful name. The things inside must be beautiful. To achieve such a requirement, I can only use an illusion." When Wang Kai entered the 100 Flowers Valley, he also realized that everything around him was an illusion. He smiled disdainfully and did not pay too much attention to it. However, along the way, he passed by a flower forest, a sea of flowers, a pavilion, and a bridge over a lotus pond, but he still did not reach the so-called 100 Flowers Garden. Along the way, he did not even see a shadow of a person. This made Wang Kai a little impatient. Along the way, he touched everything that should be touched and did not indulge in anything that should be touched. Xiao Yu was out of breath. She staggered as she walked, and even the air she exhaled was hot. However, they still did not reach the final stop. Damn it! Do I really have to let Ben Xiao do her in order to reach the final stop? Wang Kai thought to himself with a dark expression. Little did he know that while Xiao Yu was suffering, she was also very anxious at the same time. If she became Wang Kai's woman like this, she would undoubtedly fly to the branch and become a phoenix. However, he just touched her and did not actually do anything. It really made her anxious. How dare you? Junior sister Xiao Yu, how can you seduce a guest of the 100 Flowers Valley like this? Bang! Crack! Suddenly, as a reprimand was heard, the surrounding scenery shattered like glass and fell to the ground and dissipated. What came into view was a cherry blossom forest with falling petals. In front of her, there were several beautiful women glaring at Xiao Yu with their beautiful eyes full of anger. An illusion? Seeing this scene, Wang Kai came to a realization. At first, he thought that the 100 Flowers Valley was like this. Who would have thought that it was an illusion made up by Xiao Yu? Wang Kai, who had never been to the 100 Flowers Valley, naturally did not suspect anything. He also did not pry into the illusion around him. It could be said that from the beginning, Wang Kai had thought that the 100 Flowers Valley was an illusion. However, it was only now that he realized that it was all done by Xiao Yu. Even if you want to become Ben Xiao, you don't have to fake it like this, right? As long as you tell Ben Xiao clearly, with Ben Xiao's gentleness and seriousness in love, he will definitely accept you. Wang Kai said helplessly as he narrowed his eyes. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 7th rank Star Emperor realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 7th rank. You have gained 100 star source points. Young Master Wong, please forgive me. I was acting out of selfishness. Plop. Chiyoyu's pretty face turned pale, and her beautiful eyes were filled with disappointment as she knelt on the ground. Now that the illusion was broken and her plan was exposed, her heart was filled with fear. As for Wang Kai's words of acceptance, Chiyoyu naturally did not dare to believe them. How can you kneel just like that? Get up quickly. Ben Xiao has come to the 100 Flowers Valley this time, and you will be accompanying him. Wang Kai smiled faintly with his hands behind his back. Chapter 857. Thank you, young master. Thank you, young master. Chiyoyu felt as though she had been pardoned, and she kowtowed repeatedly with joy on her face. Bastard, you violated the rules of the 100 Flower Valley, yet you're still so pleased with yourself? A beautiful middle-aged woman reprimanded sternly. Senior Sister Guyun, young master didn't say anything, so why are you being so overbearing? Are you jealous of me? Chiyoyu stood up and obediently stood beside Wang Kai. She glared at the middle-aged woman and retorted. Swoosh! The middle-aged woman with the surname Gu was instantly enraged when she heard those words. She stared at Chiyoyu with a sharp gaze. She waved her hand, and a long sword appeared in her hand. As the eldest senior sister of the 4th-generation disciples, how are you going to manage the other 4th-generation disciples in the future if you can't change your bad habits? Get over here and kneel down to receive your sword. Guyun raised her long sword and reprimanded with a cold expression. However, with Wang Kai around, Chiyoyu was not afraid at all. Not only was she not afraid, but she also curled her lips in disdain and said indifferently, You should first ask me who this young master is before you come to a conclusion. Him? Guyun frowned when she heard that. Her beautiful eyes flickered with a strange light as she looked at Wang Kai. It was only now that she calmed down. Why did Chiyoyu dare to disobey her? She didn't even have the slightest bit of self-awareness when she violated the rules of the 100 Flower Valley. Could it be that this young man in his 20s has a strong background? Buzz. Suddenly, Guyun released her spiritual force in an attempt to pry into Wang Kai's cultivation. However, the result made her expression change drastically. She couldn't pry into it at all. It was a blank, boundless. Regardless of whether the other party's cultivation was profound or whether he had a supreme treasure to conceal his true cultivation, either result proved that this person was definitely extraordinary. May I know who you are? Guyun, who had calmed down, didn't dare to act rashly. She kept her long sword and cupped her fists at Wang Kai from afar. Oh, Wang Kai. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled casually. She was not interested in the fight between the two of them at all. Instead, she wanted to end this farce as soon as possible so that she could see if there were any other beauties in the 100 Flower Valley. If there were only a few of them, it would be too disappointing. Although she was a little beautiful, for Wang Kai, who had seen many beautiful women, it was really nothing. In fact, it could be said that his immunity was too strong. Wang Kai, Your Majesty, Guyun's beautiful brows furrowed even deeper when she heard this. Her beautiful eyes stared at Wang Kai in bewilderment as she muttered softly for a long time. In the end, she was unable to guess the reason and could only continue asking, May I know where young Master Wang is from? Which force do you belong to? There were many surnames of Wang in the Unbreakable region. However, the only powerful one was the Wang clan of the Domain Main City. But no matter how he thought about it, Guyun would not associate it with that Wang clan. After all, the Wang clan of the Domain Main City was the second most powerful force in the Unbreakable region. Every year, they would send a special invitation token, but the Wang clan did not even bother about it once. Therefore, Guyun did not even think about it. Unbreakable region, Domain Main City, Wang clan, Wang Kai. Buzz. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and smiled with an indifferent expression. With a flip of his hand, the golden sky incinerating flame was released. Soon after, He withdrew it. However, when they heard Wang Kai's answer and the golden flames that appeared in that instant, it caused Gu Yun and the other pillars of the fourth-generation disciples to be terrified to the point their delicate bodies trembled and their countenances turned ghastly pale. Hee. Now do you know who young master is? You still want to punish me. If the Valley Master knows that I, Chiu Yu, have welcomed young Master Wang and was even chosen by him to accompany him, he will reward me. Chiu Yu blinked her beautiful eyes and laughed proudly. In response, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows slightly and did not say anything. No matter how she acted, it did not matter. After all, the reason she acted was because she was awesome. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. When he heard the notification, Wang Kai's face turned black, and he snorted unhappily in his heart. Don't always hit Ben Xiao's face. Isn't Ben Xiao awesome? If he isn't awesome, how can she use Ben Xiao to show off and show off? You can't even tell that. You are the most awesome system in the world. At most, you are Ben Xiao's foil. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. F*CKU. Wang Kai was quite annoyed and cursed in his heart. He really couldn't do anything about the system. He was acting tough, and the system said that he was just bragging and gave him a reward. He couldn't do anything about it. Oh, it's young Master Wang. Sorry for not going out to meet you. Junior sister Chiu Yu, you must treat young Master Wang well. If you neglect him, you know the consequences. Gu Yun recovered from her shock and hurriedly led her junior sisters to kneel on one knee in unison. Her beautiful eyes were filled with intense joy. After she finished speaking, she hurriedly turned around and left. Wouldn't it be a sin if she did not inform the Valley Master of such good news? At the same time, Gu Yun and the others had indeed developed dense jealousy towards Chiu Yu. If they were the ones who obtained Wang Kai's appreciation, then wouldn't they become the most noble phoenixes in the unbroken region? However, no matter how good it was, it belonged to someone else. No matter how unwilling they were, they could only watch. Little girl, you are quite good at bragging. However, Ben Xiao likes it. Ha ha ha. Wang Kai squinted his eyes and laughed comfortably. I wouldn't dare. I've embarrassed myself in front of you. Hearing this, Chiu Yu's beautiful eyes were dazed. She was terrified. Fortunately, she spoke in time. Otherwise, she would have knelt on the ground and begged for forgiveness. The Wang family was too strong and could not be provoked. Otherwise, not to mention the Wang family, even the 100-Flower Valley would not let her off. You don't have to be so reserved. Just like before, seduce Ben Xiao to your heart's content. Yes, of course, Ben Xiao is not that kind of man. You have to understand that Ben Xiao is an upright, honest, and kind gentleman. All your seductions are just training for Ben Xiao. Wang Kai smiled indifferently with his hands behind his back. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 8th grade Star Emperor realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 8th grade. You have received 100 Star Source points. Hearing this, Chiu Yu's beautiful eyes flickered with a strange light. Soon after, she felt a warm, large hand continuously roaming around her thigh and the area above her leg. Such a feeling immediately caused her pretty face to turn red, and she became extremely shy. He was still acting like a gentleman just now. Why is he doing it now? Lord Wang is really a bastard. Chiu Yu tightly pursed her red lips and laughed in her heart. Let's go. Bring Ben Xiao to the competition venue. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and said indifferently. Chapter 858. At the center of a sea of flowers that stretched as far as the eye could see, there were 30 long tables arranged in a circle. Within the circle of long tables were 4 pavilions. Within them were zither, chess, books, and paintings. Behind the first row of long tables, there were 3 rows of tables and chairs that were further away. Just the distance between the first row and the first row was at least 100 meters, and the distance between them and the pavilion was close to 1,000 meters. At the same time, as the young men walked in one after another, they all chose the long table that they should sit at according to their identity. One master and two servants, or one master and three servants. The master sat, while the servants stood behind him. When the 30 young masters all sat down, they drank the fragrant tea on the table and chatted with each other. The 30 young masters all sat in the first row, the seats closest to the pavilions. Even further back, excluding the servants, there were 100 people coming and going. Wang Kai, who had just arrived at the 100 Flower Gardens, could not help but rub his chin when he saw this scene. He found it rather funny as he said, "Is this the so-called difference in treatment between those with and without a special invitation token?" That's right. The first row is for those with VIP tokens, the second row is for those with VIP tokens, the third row is for those with VIP tokens, and the last row is for the younger generation of those without VIP tokens, Chiu said with a smile as she blinked her eyes. Wang Kai gently nodded when he heard that. Looking at the distance between the four rows, he could not help but sigh emotionally inside. Those who had come all wanted to capture the hearts of the beauties of the 100 Flowers Valley. Even if they did not succeed, they would at least be able to befriend them. At the very least, they would be able to enjoy the view. However, they were so far away, so even if they could see them, they would undoubtedly be inferior. What's more, the tea, flowers, fruits, and other things on the tables were clearly divided into good and bad. The first row was the best, the second row was second, and the third row was slightly lower. When it came to the fourth row, there was not even any tea. The table was empty. Your Highness, your identity is special. Compared to everyone here, you are 1,000,000 times more honorable. Logically speaking, you should be meeting the valley leader directly. However, if you want to watch the competition from here, then please sit inside the pavilion. Chiu blinked her beautiful eyes and extended her hand. Wang Kai wasn't surprised by this, but when he looked at the young people who were far away from the gazebo, he really wanted to enter the gazebo and show off. After all, even the first row was 100 meters away from the pavilion. This small distance of 100 meters represented a very big meaning. Suddenly, Wang Kai's eyes narrowed as he looked at the last row. There was a young man in front of a long table. He couldn't help but raise his hand to rub his chin. He smiled faintly and said, "Ben Xiao should go to the last row first. Ben Xiao's friends are there." "What? Fourth row? Young master you?" Chiu was shocked when she heard this. She never thought that Wang Kai would choose to go to the last row. Wasn't this lowering his status? Even if she agreed, the Valley Master wouldn't let her go, right? After all, from the looks of it, he was the one who had neglected Wang Kai. "Young master, if your friends are here, you can invite them to the gazebo to watch the competition. There's no need to." Just as Chiu pursed her red lips and was about to persuade him, Wang Kai waved his hand and calmly interrupted, "There's no need for that. Ben Xiao is a very low-key person. He doesn't like to be in the limelight. As the saying goes, a king should be happy with his people. No matter how high his status is, no one should forget his roots. It's because they are weak that Ben Xiao is awesome." Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Kai walked straight to the fourth row while Chiu was still in a daze. Is this low-key? He's obviously showing off in a high-profile manner. Young master is really bad. Chiu snapped out of her daze and snorted in amusement. She then hurriedly followed behind him. At the same time, in front of a long table in the fourth row, Zui Fengshinu's expression was ugly. He gritted his teeth and kept snorting. This was especially so when he looked at the young generation in the first few rows. The way they were showing off made Zui Fengshinu even angrier. Damn it! If I had known, I would have asked my father for a special invitation token. Zui Fengshinu snorted and cursed. At first, he thought that the special invitation token was useless. As long as he was strong, he would be able to win the admiration of the beauties. However, now that he was here, he realized that this was obviously a competition of status and identity. After being thrown to the last row, no matter how strong or talented he was, he wouldn't be able to win the favor of the beauties from the 100-Flower Valley. Vice Mansion Master, we have miscalculated this time. Eldest brother Zhuo Fong shook his head and sighed. That's right. We have lost from the beginning. Second brother Zhuo Fong said with an ugly expression. Zhuo Fong Shinu was even angrier when he heard that. He slammed the table and said in a deep voice, "Where's third brother? Why didn't he appear? Did he run away with the beauties?" Eldest brother Zhuo Fong and second brother Zhuo Fong looked at each other and pointed under the table. They covered their faces and said, He is under the table. I heard that he sat in the first row when he arrived and was beaten back by the young masters in the first row. He is too ashamed to see anyone now. Bastard! Who dares to hurt the people of the Ni Sword Mansion? Zhuo Fong Shinu was furious when he heard that. He didn't even look at third brother Zhuo Fong under the table. He stood up and shouted at the first row. Swish! His thunderous voice immediately attracted everyone's gazes to him. Similarly, the young masters in the first row also turned to look at him. Ni Sword Mansion? Oh, are you talking about the servant called third brother Zhuo Fong? It was Palace Master Ben Xiao who heard him. What are you going to do about it? A young man in white stood up from the first row. He was handsome and had an extraordinary temperament. There was a sharp light in his eyes that was extremely dazzling. Zhuo Fong Shinu lost his confidence when he saw that. However, he couldn't lose face in front of so many people, so he immediately roared, Are you King crazy? How dare you hurt the people of the Ni Sword Mansion? Don't you want to stay in the unbreakable territory? Oh, so the Ni Sword Mansion is very powerful in the unbreakable territory? Where does it come from? The young man was stunned when he heard that. Then, he waved his folding fan and looked at Zhuo Fong Shinu, as if he was looking at a fool. He didn't show the slightest anger. He just looked at Zhuo Fong Shinu mockingly. He thought Zhuo Fong Shinu was an idiot. Ni Sword Mansion. Oh, it should be the force of Ancient Sword City. A young man smiled faintly. Ancient Sword City? The force of that third-rate town? Ha ha. In an instant, there was a burst of laughter from the surroundings. It could be said that the young masters in the first 3 rows were all looking at Zhuo Fong with ridicule in their eyes. Chapter 859. Master, that is Dan Lu, the son of the Dan family, the #1 family in Moon Worship City. Zhuo Fong's third brother, whose face was bruised, crawled out from under the table and reminded Zhuo Fong Shinu softly. Moon Worship City. The Dan family. Zhuo Fong Shinu frowned when he heard that. He had heard a lot about Moon Worship City and knew that it was much more powerful than Ancient Sword City. It was natural for such a family to sit in the first row. However, he could not just let it go like that. Zhuo Fong Shinu knew that Dan Lu was powerful. No matter how angry he was, he did not want to say anything. He could only suppress his anger and sit back down with a cold snort. He was well aware of Mooncloud City's strength. If they wanted to destroy Ancient Sword City, it would be a piece of cake. The Reverse Sword Mansion, which was controlled by the Zhuo Fong family, was only the second most powerful family in Ancient Sword City. If they offended the Dan family in Moon Worship City, the entire family would be in trouble. Is he afraid? Ha ha, of course. He is just a cultivator from Ancient Sword City. Where did he get the guts to go against you, Master Dan? Many of the younger generation sneered at Zhuo Fong Shinu. Zhuo Fong Shun angrily lowered his head and gritted his teeth when facing this, and he endured his rage without saying a single word. If the entire Zhuo clan were to fall into danger because of his impulse, then wouldn't he become a great sinner? Take your 3 dogs and get out of 100-Flower Valley. I will pretend that this never happened. Dan Lu said indifferently with his hands behind his back. As soon as he finished speaking, he didn't even look at Zhuo Fong Shinu as he turned around and sat back down. Master, Zhuo Fong's eldest brother said softly. Zhuo Fong's second brother supported Zhuo Fong's third brother with an ugly expression. I will remember this. Let's go. Wait, where are we going? Ben Xiao just arrived and you want to leave? How can you be so rude? Swoosh. Zhuo Fong Shinu gritted his teeth and was about to leave. Wang Kai came up to him and pressed on his shoulder, looking at him with a smile. "It's you. Brother, act tough." Zhuo Fangshun was stunned. Soon after, he recognized Wang Kai. However, at this moment, he really did not want to bother with Wang Kai. Sensing the strange gazes around him, he could only nod his head. He cupped his hands together and said, "Acting tough, brother. We will meet again if fate allows. Goodbye." "Brother, act tough?" The corner of Wang Kai's mouth twitched slightly when he heard this. He pressed down on his shoulder and exerted a little force, causing him to be unable to move. In the end, he was pushed back into his seat. "With Ben Xiao here, who can bully you? Who would dare to humiliate you? Why don't all of you step forward and let Ben Xiao take a look?" Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with an indifferent smile, "Whoosh." When they heard this, the pupils of all the people of the younger generation suddenly constricted, and they looked at him in unison. Especially Shan Lu, the young master of the Shan clan, in the first row. His face sank, and a cold light flickered in his eyes. F***CK, brother, act tough, you. Now it was not the time to act tough. Zhuo Fangshun's face turned pale with fright. He suddenly realized that he had underestimated Wang Kai's ability to act tough. Previously, when they were outside the valley, it was nothing compared to now. Don't worry. With Ben Xiao here, no one in the unbroken territory, or even the entire heavenly region, can hurt you. Wang Kai said with a calm smile with his hands behind his back. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. Whoosh. When he heard this, Zhuo Fangshun's heart pounded violently. He opened his eyes wide and looked at Wang Kai as if he was looking at a monster. This bragging was simply unbearable to look at. "Who are you?" Shan Lu stood up and frowned as he held the folding fan in his hand and asked indifferently, "How dare you?" Suddenly, just as Qiu Yu was about to scold him, Wang Kai waved his hand and interrupted her. If they knew that Qiu Yu was a fourth-generation disciple of the 100-Flower Valley, wouldn't it be over? If he didn't reveal Qiu Yu's identity now, others would think that she was just Wang Kai's servant. Hee, what a bold servant. I wonder which faction this brother is from. You came to the 100-Flower Valley with a servant girl. Don't you know the rules of the 100-Flower Valley? Only men are allowed to enter, not women. Shan Lu sneered. There's such a rule? Wang Kai was stunned when he heard this. He couldn't help but look at Qiu Yu. When he saw her nodding her head awkwardly, he suddenly understood. Ben Xiao brought her. What can you do? Moreover, who do you think you are? How dare you meddle in Ben Xiao's affairs? Are you tired of living? F***CKU. Wang Kai's face was cold as he snorted with disdain. Whoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone was shocked. Zhuo Fang and Shun Rong were stunned. They didn't know what expression to use and what words to use to describe Wang Kai. He was too arrogant. Humph, how bold of you. I hope you can still be so unyielding after you leave the territory of the 100-Flower Valley. Shan Lu snorted with an ashen face. Due to the rules of the 100-Flower Valley that forbade violence, he could only suppress his anger and sit back down. Everyone sneered and looked at Wang Kai as if they were looking at a dead man. If they offended Shan Lu, they would be protected by the rules of the 100-Flower Valley and wouldn't be in danger. But if they left the 100-Flower Valley, what's the point of waiting? You can kill this young master right now. What's wrong? You don't dare? TSK, you're such a coward. How dare you stand out and pretend to be the big brother? How many heads do you have? Are they enough for Ben Xiao to chop off? Wang Kai frowned and sneered. Bang! Crack! Hearing this, Shan Lu flew into a rage and smashed the table with his palm. His body was surrounded by a thick murderous aura, which was extremely terrifying. How bold of him! How dare he offend Shan Lu? Is he tired of living? Everyone's expression changed when they saw this. They couldn't help but put themselves in Shan Lu's shoes. If they were Shan Lu, they would have exploded with anger. Haha, why did you smash the table? Do you have a grudge against the table? Don't forget that the person who pointed at your head and said you were nothing was Ben Xiao. Aren't you very awesome? Get over here and kill Ben Xiao. Wang Kai shrugged and sneered disdainfully. You. Shan Lu's face turned even more ashen. He never thought that this person would be so aggressive. If it weren't for the rules of the 100-Flower Valley, he would have killed him long ago. How could he allow him to be so presumptuous? Idiot from the countryside, quit while you're ahead. That's right. You've grasped young Master Shan's weakness of not being able to violate the rules of the 100-Flower Valley. What's the use of showing off like this? Exactly. If you have the guts, why don't you make a move and let us see? How dare you say that young Master Shan isn't bullish *T? The way I see it, you're the one who isn't bullish *T. You're using the 100-Flower Valley's rules as a shield to show off. Everyone stood up and sneered when they saw this. They were clearly aware of the Shan clan's strength, so they naturally stood on Shan Lu's side. As soon as these words were spoken, Shan Lu's expression eased up slightly. Everyone knew the reason behind it, but he couldn't say it out loud. I'll make a move today and broaden the horizons of all of you ignorant trash. Chapter 860. Following Wang Kai's words, the entire place became so quiet that even the sound of a pin dropping could be heard. Everyone narrowed their eyes as they stared at him with a cold glint in their eyes. Show us what you've got. After a moment of silence, the crowd burst into laughter. Ha ha! I didn't expect you to be so good at acting tough. You're even better at bragging. You said you want to fight? Why don't you do it? That's right. You're just talking. What kind of skill is that? Ignorant fool. Zhuo Shun was furious and helpless when he heard the crowd's sarcasm. He tugged at Wang Kai's sleeve and sighed softly. Brother Braggart, why do you have to do this? You are obviously good at acting. Why do you have to throw yourself into a fire pit? That's right. You'd better leave with us. We can't afford to offend Moon Worship City. Eldest Zhuo and second Zhuo said in unison, shaking their heads. If you kneel on the ground, break one of your arms, kowtow, and admit your mistake, I'll spare your life. At the same time, Shan Lu put his hands behind his back and said with a smile, Ha ha, kneel and kowtow and admit your mistake. That's right. This is your last chance to live. Trash. Everyone chimed in one after another, and all of their expressions were filled with disdain. Everyone was disdainful of Wang Kai's actions. After all, who would dare to fight in 100-Flower Valley? Outside of Centauria Valley, they had to leave Centauria Valley's territory before they could fight. Even Shan Lu of Moon City's Shan family was unwilling to violate the rules of the 100-Flowers Valley. How dare an unknown brat disobey them? *CK off. Buzz. Suddenly, while the crowd was laughing, Wang Kai moved. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of Shan Lu. He waved his hand and grabbed the back of Shan Lu's head. You've gone overboard with your bragging. Bang! As his voice faded, Wang Kai pressed his palm down forcefully, directly pressing Shan Lu's head and violently smashing it into the ground. You want to break Ben Xiao's arm? Good. Ben Xiao will break your arms first. Wang Kai's big hand fell, tightly gripping Dan Lu's arm and fiercely pulling him back. Crack! Ah! Dan Lu's arm was directly torn off by Wang Kai as a streak of blood spilled into the sky. A blood-curdling scream came from the ground, causing the entire 100-Flower Garden to fall silent. However, this was not the end. With another tug from Wang Kai, Dan Lu's other arm was also torn off. Holding one arm in each hand, Wang Kai's expression was cold to the extreme. Soon after, he released his astral source power and the two arms turned to dust on the spot. No, don't kill me. Don't kill me. Dan Lu's face was deathly pale as he climbed up from the ground. However, the disappearance of his arms caused him to be unable to stand steadily. The intense pain caused him to tumble a few times on the ground. The blood-curdling screams were incessant. Who said he was going to kill you? Ben Xiao just cut off your arms. At the same time, he used his astral source power to make you unable to recover for the rest of your life. Why would such a kind-hearted Ben Xiao want your life? Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and said with a calm smile. Swoosh. Hearing this, Dan Lu was so frightened that his eyes rolled back. He fell to the ground and fainted on the spot. Arms that could not be recovered, unable to recover for the rest of his life. Dan Lu could not accept such a blow. He was extremely terrified. Who was the one who spoke up for this idiot and asked Ben Shao to kneel down and kowtow to admit his mistake? All of you kneel down. Wang Kai's gaze turned, and his hands were stained with blood as he coldly berated them. Wang, rumble. Bang, 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 bang. Suddenly, under Wang Kai's loud roar, the young generation, who were already dumbfounded, were forced to kneel down on the ground by the extremely terrifying pressure. Some of them even prostrated themselves on the ground, their bodies embedded in the ground. How could he be so powerful? This, in an instant, everyone's hearts were filled with despair and fear. They could not believe that Wang Kai could be so powerful. At first, they were still shocked and dumbfounded by his daring attack. But now, the cultivation that Wang Kai displayed had completely surpassed everyone present. No one could stop him. Oh my God, Brother Pretentious is so awesome. Zhuo Fangshun swallowed his saliva angrily, and his face was full of shock. Eldest brother Zhuo Fang and second brother Zhuo Fang were also extremely shocked. They even forgot to support third brother Zhuo Fang, causing him to fall to the ground, aggravating his injuries and causing him to faint again. How dare you? Where did you come from? How dare you behave so atrociously in my 100-Flower Valley? Wang. Suddenly, along with a delicate and angry rebuke, nearly 100 beautiful women wearing all kinds of clothes descended from the sky. It's the fairies of the 100-Flower Valley. Damn bastard. Let's see if you can continue pretending to be fierce. Fairies, please kill this bastard who disobeyed the rules of the 100-Flower Valley. In an instant, many of the younger generation's faces turned pale as they sneered and shouted. With the appearance of the 100-Flower Valley's people, they naturally did not fear Wang Kai anymore, because they knew very well that once they violated the rules of the 100-Flower Valley, they would die. How dare you? How dare you be so rude to the young master? Get over here and kneel down to apologize. At the same time, Qiu Yu's pretty face was anxious. Her eyes were filled with worry as she hurried forward to scold them. At the same time, she kept winking at the beautiful women. However, none of the women understood Qiu Yu's actions at all. Fourth generation disciple Qiu Yu? Bastard. How dare you be so rude to the second and third generation elders? Do you want to be expelled from the 100-Flower Valley? It seems that this troublemaker must have a powerful background. Otherwise, Qiu Yu would not dare to talk to us like this. So what? Even if he's powerful, how powerful can he be? Only death awaits anyone who dares to disobey the 100-Flower Valley. Qiu Yu, you should give up on the idea of rising to become a phoenix. Many of the second and third generation disciples frowned, their faces filled with murderous intent as they scolded angrily. From the looks of it, you don't seem to know who Ben Shao is. But that's fine. Ben Shao will give you a chance. Go back and ask your Valley Master who Ben Shao is and how you should talk to Ben Shao. Come back. Wang Kai frowned slightly and said rather indifferently. They had violated the rules of the 100-Flower Valley, so it was only natural for the 100-Flower Valley to step in and punish them. Therefore, Wang Kai would not blame them this time. Ask the Valley Master? Ha ha ha. You're just an ignorant fool. How dare you use the Valley Master to intimidate us? Who do you think you are? Why would the Valley Master care about an ignorant fool like you? Sisters, why waste your breath on him? Just capture him and kill him. With that, Wang Kai's face darkened. A brain is a good thing. If you don't have one, you won't end up well, Wang Kai said indifferently. Chapter 861. Bastard. When I said I didn't mean it the way you think. I meant admiration. Senior Sister Qing's face was cold, and her red lips moved. Furthermore, from the look in Senior Sister Qing's eyes, one could tell that she was very disappointed. The reason for her disappointment was that she had failed to hit Wang Kai. When he saw this scene, Wang Kai was even more speechless to the extreme, and his face darkened on the spot. It would be one thing if she couldn't help but let out that attack just now. However, she had done it on purpose. She had thought it through. Otherwise, why would she look so disappointed after her attack had failed? It was obvious that she hated him for not being dead. Bullshit. The like that Ben Shao mentioned just now was the kind of like that you don't want. Since you don't understand, why don't you reply that you like Ben Shao very much? F*CKU. Wang Kai snorted, and his face darkened. Whoosh. Senior Sister Qing's face darkened. She had thought that the young master of the Wang family would be well-mannered. Who would have thought that he had intended to take advantage of her from the beginning? Since you're the young master of the Wang family, I won't bicker with you. If you want to F*CK me in a deserted place. Anyway, you'll never get the chance. Let's compete here. Goodbye. Buzz. As Senior Sister Qing's voice faded, her figure turned into a ray of red light and disappeared from the 100-flower garden. She had appeared here to reveal Wang Kai's identity and let the disciples of the 100-flower valley know how to treat him. Now that the matter was done, she naturally had to leave. At first, Senior Sister Qing had come here because she wanted to stay and discuss cultivation experiences with Wang Kai. If fate brought them together, she would definitely become Wang Kai's Tao companion. However, she was extremely disappointed. Not only was Wang Kai uncultured, but he was also very shameless. No matter how high his status was, or how high his cultivation was, he would never be able to win Senior Sister Qing's heart. If you leave just like that, won't Ben Shao lose face? Is the 100 Flowers Valley too arrogant? He even dared to defy Ben Shao? He hit Ben Shao. Although he didn't hit him, he still had a motive. How can he just leave like that? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and snorted with displeasure. The corners of everyone's mouths twitched when they heard this. If Senior Sister Qing dared to treat Wang Kai like that, they naturally wouldn't dare to do the same. They could only lower their heads and remain silent. Sir Wang, Senior Sister Qing, is the reincarnation of a star god. Although she cultivates in the 100-Flower Valley, everyone in the unbreakable region, including the Sky God sect, has to be respectful to her. Qiu Yu reminded him in a low voice. The reincarnation of a star god? Even the heavenly divine sect of the unbreakable region had to be respectful to him. Wang Kai was stunned when he heard this. However, he still felt that it was very impressive. He just didn't understand it. He rubbed his nose and asked curiously, "Is the divine sect very impressive? Is the reincarnation of a star god very powerful?" Qiu Yu was stunned when she heard this. She thought to herself that the divine sect was the most powerful force in the unbreakable region. They were even more powerful than the Wang family. How could Wang Kai not know about them? The reincarnation of a star god, as the name suggested, was the reincarnation of a star god realm master. How could he not know this? That's not right. Sir Wang must be very clear about it. His words must be an act. After thinking for a while, Qiu Yu came to a realization. She assumed that Wang Kai was intentionally acting tough to find a way out for himself. However, she didn't know that Wang Kai really didn't know what the divine sect was. He also didn't know what the reincarnation of a star god meant. Damn it, looks like I have to explain it properly. The divine sect is a force in the unbreakable region. Using the divine sect as a comparison is for Ben Shao's benefit. If that's the case, the divine sect shouldn't be any weaker than the Wang family. Wang Kai frowned and thought to himself. If it weren't for the fact that he was the Wang family of the unbreakable region's domain lord city, he would have asked them about it long ago. Unfortunately, if he asked and made a mistake, his identity would be exposed. Although he didn't fear the 100-Flower Valley, he would lose a lot of face. To Wang Kai, he would rather be hunted down than lose face. All right, all of you can start the competition. Qiu Yu, take Ben Shao to see the Valley Lord. Zhuofang Shenu can come along as well. Wang Kai smiled faintly with his hands behind his back. He couldn't control that little girl named Qing now, but that didn't mean that he couldn't control her after he saw the Valley Lord of the 100-Flower Valley. This, young Master Wang, I'd better stay and compete. Although Zhuofang Shenu really wanted to follow, he knew that he couldn't be too hasty. Moreover, with the protection of Wang Kai's identity, he would definitely win the heart of a beauty in this competition. Even Boss Zhua and the other two servants who had followed him here would definitely win the heart of the beauty, right? Then you can compete here. When it's over, You can leave with Ben Shao. Wang Kai waved his hand and smiled faintly. Yes. Hearing such implied words, Zuofeng Shinu and the others happily nodded their heads in agreement. At the same time, the beautiful second and third generation disciples around them were sizing up Zuofeng Shinu and the others with sparkling eyes. They didn't even plan on letting Zuofeng Shinu's servants, Baswa, and the others off. After all, if they could leave with Wang Kai, it was needless to say that the place they were going to was the domain lord's city of the unbreakable region. After Wang Kai and Xiaoyu left, the status of Zuofeng Shinu and the others also rose, and they were directly invited into the pavilion to compete. Although the young masters of the younger generation were extremely jealous, they didn't dare to say anything. They could only endure it with ugly expressions and smile from time to time. Young Master Wang, are we going to see the Valley Master or Senior Sister Qing? Along the way, the clever Qiuyu stopped in her tracks and asked softly. In response, Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and looked at her with surprise. He smiled and asked, "Do you want Ben Shao to see the Valley Master or Senior Sister Qing?" If Sir Wang can capture Senior Sister Qing's heart, this servant naturally wishes to see her. With Sir Wang's status and Senior Sister Qing's aptitude, this servant will definitely be able to tell a good story in the unbreakable region. However, Qiuyu hesitated. Wang Kai was slightly startled when he heard this. He looked at her curiously and asked, "However what?" However, in the heavenly god sect of the unbreakable region, the young lord has always had feelings for Senior Sister Qing. Due to Senior Sister Qing's high expectations, this matter did not succeed. Qiuyu softly reminded. Was she reminding him to be wary of the young master of the heavenly god sect? At the same time, she was also telling him that Senior Sister Qing's expectations were very high. With his performance, it would be difficult for her to admire him. You underestimate Ben Shao too much. To tell you the truth, your Senior Sister Qing has long fallen in love with Ben Shao. Moreover, she can't stop loving him. Just now, she abruptly left because she was too shy. As long as Ben Shao beckons with his finger, she will definitely run over eagerly. Wang Kai smiled indifferently with his hands behind his back. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 9th grade star Emperor realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 9th grade. You have received 100 star source points. Chapter 862. Host. Wang Kai Profession. Star Warrior Realm. 9th grade Star Emperor title. Unparalleled bragging. Shaking heaven and earth star technique. Karma technique star technique. 5 thunder sky covering palm. Yin and yang in one thought. Body turns into thunder and fire. Stepping on stars identification. Torch dragon's eye equipment. Sky piercer star power. Level 8 star source points. 2. 900 physique. Invulnerable guardian beast. Sun Wu Kong bragging points. 200000 experience. 040000000. Hearing the prompt end. Seeing the system page in front of him, Wang Kai couldn't help but raise his eyebrows slightly. He wasn't surprised that his experience points had increased by another 10 million. Now that he had reached the 9th grade Star Emperor realm, it was reasonable for the record of the Star Venerable level spaceship, Star Dominator, to be cancelled. But why was Sun Wukong still in the Guardian Beast? Could it be that Sun Wukong is very impressive now? Wang Kai frowned and murmured in surprise. No matter what, this was the only explanation now. Otherwise, Sun Wukong wouldn't have appeared in the system page. Mr. Wang, what's wrong with you? Qiuyu blinked her beautiful eyes and asked softly with a puzzled look on her face. Seeing Wang Kai talking to himself and frowning in thought, Qiuyu couldn't help but stare at him in a daze. It's nothing. I'm just lamenting that Ben Shao has committed a crime. Why is Ben Shao so handsome? Why is Ben Shao superior to others from the moment he was born? Why did you make this young master's temperament so shocking that every beauty who saw me would fall head over heels in love with me? What a goddamn sin. Wang Kai sighed helplessly with his hands behind his back. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've gained 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. So handsome, superior to others from the moment he was born. So stunning. He even said that he had committed a crime and committed a sin. Oh my God, why is Mr. Wang so good at bragging? Qiuyu was stunned for a long time. Questions kept echoing in her mind. She was amazed by Wang Kai's bragging skills and was speechless. Tell me, why is this so? Why? Ben Xiao was so arrogant. How could others live? Wouldn't this be cutting off other people's livelihood? Isn't this a sin? The more Wang Kai spoke, the more excited he became. In the end, his hands were on Qiuyu's shoulders. As he spoke, his palms were moving downwards. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Qiuyu's face blushed as she felt the warmth of his hand and heard Wang Kai's words. She clenched her teeth and endured it as she harumphed in her heart. Damn bastard, the way he did it is indeed sinful. He was obviously bragging, but he took the opportunity to take advantage of her. This made Qiuyu unable to resist, and, at the same time, she felt extremely depressed. She was so sensitive to the touch and could not get an effective release. It was too uncomfortable. So I forget it. You will not be able to understand Ben Xiao's pain. Even if I tell you about Ben Xiao's experience, you will not be able to understand. Only Ben Xiao himself, with his sins, stands at the highest peak, looking down on all living things in loneliness. Wang Kai gently retracted his hand and shook his head sadly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Hearing this, Qiuyu did not have time to pay attention to it. She was already panting because of Wang Kai. Her eyes were full of lust, and her face was flushed red. But at this moment, Wang Kai stopped and did not have the intention to continue. It was really hateful. Young master, please take me. I can't endure being so frivolous, Qiuyu said softly as her breathing became erratic. As she spoke, her delicate body pressed against Wang Kai. Seeing this, Wang Kai's eyebrows twitched slightly. With a tap of his foot, he stepped away and shook his head. With a bitter expression, he said, "This young master really wants you." Unfortunately, this young master's body is a collection of thousands of sins. It's so perfect that even this young master is fucking jealous. If you're tainted by this sin, I'm afraid you will also be lonely for the rest of your life. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the first stage of the Star God realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the next stage of the Star God realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the next stage of the Star God realm. Host, Wang Kai occupation, Star Warrior realm. First stage Star God title. Unparalleled bragging skills, shaking heaven and earth star technique. Karma Dao technique star technique. 5 thunder heaven covering palm, yin and yang in one thought. Body turns into thunder and fire, stepping on stars identification. Torch dragon's eye equipment. Heavenly halberd star God realm. Level 9 star God realm. 3,000 physique. Invulnerable protector beast. Sun Wukong bragging points. 240000 experience. 040000 hearing. The prompt, Wang Kai's expression suddenly froze, and then joy flashed in his eyes. The significance of level 9 star power was completely different. Level 8 Star God Realm represented the Son of God. Then what about level 9? What did it represent? Moreover, what surprised Wang Kai was the information about the Protector Beast. Sun Wukong was still F** king in the records. What's going on with the Horse Protector Beast? Ben Xiao has reached the Star God Realm, but he still has the right to be recorded by the system. In such a short period of time, he was able to reach such a level. Wang Kai furrowed his brows and thought to himself in surprise, "Young master, please don't touch me again. I can't take it. The helpless Chiou could only grit her teeth and dispel all the impulsive thoughts. Although the process was painful, she had no choice. If possible, Chiou really wanted to go back to her room and change her clothes. Wang Kai had really made her lower body wet. It's good that you understand. Wang Kai gently nodded and didn't say much on this topic. He had seen too many beautiful women, but when it came to that kind of thing, there were very few that could make him impulsive. In the Hundred Flowers Valley, only senior sister Qing could arouse Wang Kai's interest in that aspect. Ben Xiao is testing you with a question. If you answer correctly, Ben Xiao will reward you. Do you know what kind of title level 9 Star God Realm is given? Wang Kai frowned and asked softly. Level 9, Star God Realm? There was actually a reward for such a simple question. Upon hearing these words, Chiou's beautiful eyes were dazed. After pondering for a while, she suddenly came to a realization. She secretly muttered in her heart. It seems that young Master Wang can't bear to see me enduring such pain and wants to find an opportunity to make it up to me. Level 9 Star God Realm is called the reincarnation of a god. It's the same as senior sister Qing, who is the reincarnation of a star god. Chiou's beautiful eyes flashed as she smiled faintly. Reincarnation of a god. Wang Kai couldn't help but rub his nose. He was already in the star god realm. So why did he need the **T reincarnation of a star god title? However, this also proved that senior sister Qing's star god realm was at level 9. It was just that her cultivation hadn't reached the star god realm yet. She was temporarily at the first star emperor realm. Chapter 863. The Hundred Flowers Pavilion in the Hundred Flowers Valley. Your Excellency, the Hundred Flowers River flows around the center of the valley. How many times have you fought with your life and death? Wang Kai came to a long river with floating petals, its depth unknown, and its end unknown. He looked at a stone tablet on the shore and read it softly with a look of surprise. Young Master Wang, this river is called the Hundred Flowers River. It is the only way to the Hundred Flowers Pavilion. If other people came here, they would have to go through the test of the Hundred Flowers River. However, you don't have to. I can take you directly to the Hundred Flowers Pavilion. Chiou bowed slightly with a hint of resentment in her eyes. She had thought that Wang Kai wanted to make it up to her. However, he had answered her question and explained clearly about the level 9 star power. In the end, he did not mention anything about the reward. In this regard, Wang Kai naturally saw through it. However, he did not have anything on hand that could be put on the table. Other than the long spear hanging behind his back, there was nothing else that could be considered a treasure. As for the Starry Sky Tyrant and other things, they were still in the system. The most important thing was that it was only a star venerable level flying treasure. Don't worry. Since Ben Xiao has promised you, he will not go back on his words. When we go to the Hundred Flowers Pavilion, I will definitely take the best treasures and give them to you. Wang Kai smiled faintly with his hands behind his back. What? Hearing this, Chiou was stunned. She did not expect that the reward Wang Kai was talking about was to ask for it in the Hundred Flowers Pavilion. The young master of the Wang family, the second most powerful family in the Unbreakable region, was actually so stingy. Chiou was a little confused. If Wang Kai did not have the sky burning blood and such a high cultivation, she would have thought that he was a fake. Ben Xiao has countless treasures, but they can only be used by cultivators above the Star Emperor realm. Even if I give them to you, you will not be able to digest them and will be in danger. You have to understand Ben Xiao's good intentions. Wang Kai shook his head and sighed. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Hearing this, Chiou blinked her beautiful eyes and stared at Wang Kai suspiciously. Seeing that his expression was normal and did not look like he was lying, she nodded and said softly, Young Master Wang, please don't take it to heart. I have no intention of rewarding you. Damn, he's pretty good at acting cool. She was obviously blaming him for not giving her a reward and was very unhappy, but she said it as if it was the truth. Wang Kai was secretly amused. At the same time, he felt that he had lost face. It seemed that he had to plunder some treasures. Otherwise, wherever he went, wouldn't he lose face? There were many treasures in the system, but all of them required bragging points. It was not worth it to give them to others. He might as well go around and plunder, taking other people's things to show off. That was the way of a king. If those who knew Wang Kai were here, they would definitely see that he was a guy who loved money as much as his life. He would never choose to do things that would cause him to lose out. How do we cross the river? We don't have a boat, and we can't walk on air. Are we supposed to swim? Wang Kai frowned and asked with a puzzled expression. At the bottom of the stone tablet, there were a few small words. Walking on air is not allowed. Young Master Wang, your identity is special. As long as you disperse the illusion of the Hundred Flowers River, you can walk on air directly into the Hundred Flowers Pavilion. Qiuyu laughed softly. Upon hearing this, Wang Kai finally came to a realization. So there was a so-called illusion within the Hundred Flowers River. Oh, then please disperse the illusion. Wang Kai waved his hand and said impatiently, do I really have to disperse it? Qiuyu was stunned and asked with a slightly stiff face. He vaguely remembered that even if it was not a broken region, when the young master of the divine sect came here, he would say that there was no need to disperse the illusion. He had to rely on his own strength to enter the Hundred Flowers Pavilion. When he told Wang Kai that there was an illusion here, he was just being polite and saying that he could disperse it. Who would have thought that Wang Kai would take it seriously? Why not? Do you want to see Bin Xiao act tough and purposely not disperse the illusion so that he can use his strength to cross the river? Then I'm sorry, Bin Xiao has never liked things like illusions. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled calmly. Wang Kai naturally liked to act tough and had always been doing it. However, there were some things that were better not to act tough. As the saying goes, acting tough without knowing the situation is more destructive. With the system, he could be immune to any test of the illusion, but Wang Kai did not use it. He had to show weakness to the enemy so that he could act tough. Okay, I will contact the Valley Master to disperse the illusion. Qiuyu had no choice but to nod and agree. At the same time, she started to feel disdainful of Wang Kai. She completely believed that Wang Kai did not dare to cross the Hundred Flowers River with his strength. At the same time, in a pavilion in the center of the Hundred Flowers River, a beautiful middle-aged woman was sitting on a bench. Beside the middle-aged woman sat a graceful figure. If Wang Kai was here, he would definitely recognize that this graceful figure was the first-generation disciple of the Hundred Flowers Valley, Senior Sister Qing, who is known as the reincarnation of the Star God. This boy is indeed ordinary. I can tell from his character. Now, it confirms my judgment. Senior Sister Qing's beautiful face and beautiful eyes were twinkling with starlight. She looked at a mirror in the air and pursed her red lips in disdain. The scene reflected in the mirror was that of Wang Kai, who refused to cross the river with his strength, and Qiuyu, who looked helpless. Since you have determined that this boy is extremely weak, why do you need to prove it? The middle-aged woman, who exuded a mature aura, asked with a strange smile in her eyes. In response, Senior Apprentice Sister Qing's face turned slightly hot. She turned her head and said indifferently, "Master, what are you trying to say?" Haha, nothing. I just want to remind you that some people can't be judged by their appearance. Whether he is strong or not, whether his character is good or bad, you can't judge from his appearance alone. The middle-aged woman said with a faint smile. Upon hearing this, Senior Sister Qing's beautiful eyes narrowed, and she couldn't help but feel angry. She naturally understood her master's words, and that was why she had come here to observe carefully. However, the result was that Wang Kai did not dare to cross the river with his strength. Moreover, no matter how she looked at it, she felt that Wang Kai was not a good person. His cultivation is indeed very strong. He is a peak 9th grade Star Emperor. However, it is useless to rely on such cultivation. If his star power is not strong enough, no matter how strong his cultivation is, he will be suppressed and surpassed one day. Senior Sister Qing said indifferently. He did not show his star power. Why are you so sure that his cultivation is very low? Moreover, He is only in his 20s, and he is able to reach the peak ninth grade Star Emperor. He can be called the first person in the entire sky domain. The middle-aged woman said with a smile. His age must be fake. Senior sister Qing bluntly denied it. A trace of disdain flashed in her beautiful eyes. At first, she was willing to come to the 100-Flower Garden to help Wang Kai because he was only in his 20s. However, after seeing him being molested, she was sure that Wang Kai's age was not real. With such a character, how could he reach such a height in his 20s? Chapter 864. On the bank of the Hundred Flowers River, Qiuyu took out a pink wooden tablet and tried to communicate with it. She then bowed to Wang Kai and said softly, "Young Master Wang, the illusion has been dispersed. We can go to the Hundred Flowers Pavilion now." The illusion has really been dispersed. Wang Kai raised his brows slightly when he heard her words. Seeing that she nodded, he couldn't help but put his hands behind his back, shake his head, and sigh. How can it be dispersed just like that? This young master wanted to display his unparalleled might, but that's fine. It seems that your Valley Master is afraid that this young master's strength will go too far and cause the Hundred Flowers River to disappear. Congratulations, host, for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. This Qiuyu's beautiful eyes suddenly froze, and she looked at Wang Kai in shock. You were the one who wanted to disperse the illusion, and now that it's gone, you're still bragging and saying that you want to show your power? What are you talking about? If I don't show you my true abilities, you really won't know that there is always someone better than you. Above the primal chaos, there is Grandpa Kai. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled indifferently. Congratulations, host, for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Star stepping. Buzz. As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Kai waved his hand and waved it, after which Qiuyu watched in shock as a colorful chariot appeared in front of her. The chariot was pulled by a blue phoenix, and the body of the chariot was colorful. The bead curtain swayed, the golden seat was dignified, and there were small tables and jade artifacts. It was a symbol of status everywhere. It was so beautiful that it was pleasing to the eyes and the mind. Star technique. It's actually a transformation star technique. Qiuyu covered her mouth and exclaimed in shock. She looked at the chariot with her beautiful eyes and instantly fell in love with it. She knew very well that the blue phoenix was condensed by the power of Star Source. Hence, it was blue in color. However, even so, it was still beautiful. It's just a star technique transformation. Why are you so surprised? To Ben Xiao, this star technique is just a low-level one. I vaguely remember that he created it when he was a child. It's not presentable, Wang Kai said while waving his hand nonchalantly with disdain in his eyes. It was as if star techniques like star stepping were worthless. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to host for successfully breaking through to the second stage of the Star God realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through. You have received 100 Star Source points. Unpresentable. Hearing this, even though Wang Kai had a noble status, Qiuyu had the urge to strangle him to death. Mr. Wang, do you know that the transformation star technique is one of the long-lost star techniques in the sky domain Starry Sky? Qiuyu took a deep breath and tried her best to remain calm. The long-lost Starry Sky secret skill? And one of them? There's actually something that's lost in the sky domain Starry Sky? Wang Kai touched his nose after hearing her words, looking rather surprised. He initially thought that the 9 great Daos were already considered lost star techniques in the sky domain Starry Sky. However, he didn't expect that there would be a lost star technique now. Compared to the 9 great Daos, is the lost transformation star technique stronger? Wang Kai squinted and asked in surprise. Whoosh! Hearing this, Qiuyu's beautiful eyes widened in shock. She pursed her red lips and said with slight displeasure, "Of course the 9 great Daos are stronger, but the transformation star technique is not weak either." No, Mr. Wang, do you have... At the end of her sentence, Qiuyu was already stunned. If Wang Kai didn't have it, why would he ask that? Haha, of course I do. Moreover, this young master has already collected all of the 9 Grand Dao techniques. I can execute any one of them at any time and any place. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled with a rather casual expression. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. What? Mr. Wang, how can you brag like that? You'll get into big trouble. Even the Wang family can't protect you. Qiuyu's beautiful eyes narrowed as she rebuked angrily. Seeing this scene, Wang Kai couldn't help but touch his nose. He also didn't expect that this woman was actually really worried about him. Her anger didn't seem fake at all. However, he didn't know that Qiuyu was already full of admiration for Wang Kai. He had a noble identity and a prominent status. His cultivation was also terrifyingly strong, and he was only in his 20s. Regardless of whether his age was real or not, she was certain that Wang Kai was definitely not old. Such an outstanding young man. How could she not admire him? Ben Xiao has never bragged. If he says he has it, then he has it. Not only do the 9 great Daos exist, but they were also created by Ben Xiao when he was cultivating. However, he encountered some things later on and had no choice but to reincarnate and cultivate again. Thus, the 9 great Daos were divided into fragments and scattered in various galaxies. Wang Kai said calmly with his hands behind his back. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Mr. Wang, what did you say? Are you that Shenluo? Impossible. Isn't this? Qiuyu was instantly shocked. For a moment, she was speechless. He said he wasn't, but Wang Kai said it so clearly. His age and strength were also unbelievable. However, it was all true. Compared to when Shenluo was cultivating, he was only stronger, not weaker. Let's not talk about the past. Let's go. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled faintly. Immediately, he stepped into the carriage. Qiuyu, who was still in shock, also walked into the carriage like a machine. As the phoenix pulled the carriage, it floated up and crossed the 100 Flowers River. She was still in shock. At the same time, the middle-aged woman and senior sister Qing in the 100 Flowers Pavilion were already in a state of shock. Looking at the mirror in the air, Wang Kai's words echoed in their minds. Is he really the reincarnation of Shenluo? The middle-aged woman frowned. Her mature face was full of doubts. Impossible. He is definitely not. If he is, why would he say it so casually? Isn't he afraid that the experts of the entire sky domain will find trouble with him? You should know that his current cultivation is not as strong as that of Shenluo. Senior sister Qing shook her head and denied it. Although she was shocked, she was unwilling to believe it. She thought that Wang Kai was bragging. However, the middle-aged woman's brows were tightly furrowed, as if she couldn't relax them. She was skeptical of Wang Kai's words. However, even a little bit of belief was enough to shock her. His age is absolutely true. He is in his 20s, but he was able to reach the peak of the 9th grade Star Emperor. He is several times stronger than Shenluo, who created the 9 ultimate great paths. Such a person, maybe he is really impossible. Master, don't believe his nonsense. He is a shameless person from the beginning to the end. Senior sister Qing interrupted bluntly. Chapter 865. A Shameless Person? Hearing this, the middle-aged woman's brows relaxed, and she laughed softly. Your words mean that you acknowledge his aptitude and cultivation, but you don't think highly of his character. Am I right? Senior sister Qing's beautiful eyes flickered as she looked at Wang Kai in the mirror. She was still unhappy. She was still brooding over the frivolity she had shown him in the 100 Flower Garden. Since that's the case, let's test his character. The middle-aged woman chuckled. Test? Senior apprentice Sister Qing frowned and asked in confusion. Master, he already told us to disperse the illusion. Could it be that you... That's right. After the illusion dispersed, he said that it was a pity and wanted to see the illusions of our Hundred Flowers Valley. Since that's the case, we can only fulfill his wish, the middle-aged woman gently chuckled. Her eyes were filled with playfulness. Buzz. As soon as she finished speaking, the middle-aged woman waved her jade-like hand and sent blue astral source energy into the mirror. At the same time, Wang Kai frowned in the carriage. He lifted the bead curtain and looked around. The corners of his mouth curled up. This is interesting. The river, which was originally filled with floating petals, was now approaching the abyss of the valley. It was so realistic that it seemed as if they would fall into the abyss if they did not stop the carriage. Is this the illusion of the abyss that the Valley Master set up personally? Young Master Wang, Chiao Yu's beautiful face turned pale, and her beautiful eyes were filled with fear. Why are you panicking? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows slightly and glanced at her rather helplessly. For a mere illusion, the system that he possessed could completely ignore it and even break it directly. Young Master Wang, this abyss is related to one state of mind. If one state of mind is not stable, even the slightest disturbance will cause one to fall into the abyss and die. Chiao Yu said hurriedly, pursing her red lips. State of mind? Wang Kai's face darkened when he heard this. He hated illusions that affected one's state of mind the most. He had never cultivated his state of mind. After all, with such an awesome system to rely on, why would he need to cultivate his state of mind? But now, Wang Kai, who thought that he could rely on the system to ignore the illusion, was helpless. His state of mind was unstable, and even if the system could ignore it, it was useless. You stinky girl, why did you have to say it out loud? I still have to let Ben Xiao waste his bragging points. Wang Kai was rather speechless as he glanced at Chiao Yu, feeling helpless in his heart. Young Master Wang, quickly jump into the river. Patter, puff, crash. In an instant, before Wang Kai could react, Chiao Yu had already grabbed his shoulder and jumped into the Hundred Flowers River with him. Wang Kai and Chiao Yu, who were floating on the surface of the water, were drenched by the river water. Little girl, what are you trying to do? Even if she wanted to seduce Ben Xiao, she didn't need to use such a method, right? Besides, you don't have enough substance. Wang Kai frowned as he sized up Chiao Yu's transparent figure. He couldn't help but twitch his mouth. Indeed, she didn't have much substance at all. Young Master Wang, I did this because I wanted to avoid the illusion. If you don't believe me, you can look now. We've avoided the illusion, but there will be another one. We have to be careful. Chiao Yu pouted as she hugged Wang Kai tightly. Feeling the burning sensation on his chest, Wang Kai couldn't help but narrow his eyes. He looked at the disappearing bottomless abyss in front of him and pondered. The Valley Master of the Hundred Flowers Valley personally set up the illusion, but it was so easily broken by a fourth-generation disciple. Who would believe me if I told others about this? Wang Kai shook his head and sighed inwardly. Seeing Chiao Yu so close to him, he had a rough idea of what had happened. Presumably, the Valley Master of the Hundred Flowers Valley had given Chiao Yu an order in advance to let her seize the opportunity to do so. As for what their goal was, Wang Kai didn't know. Young Master, your clothes are soaked. Shall I help you change? Chiao Yu, who had returned to the carriage, pinched the corner of her clothes and pursed her red lips. She had no intention of hiding her soaked and transparent figure. No need. Go in and change yourself. Ben Xiao can change outside. Wang Kai waved his hand and smiled rather calmly. But young master, go. No matter how much Ben Xiao loves beauties, he has to do it openly and vigorously. Why would he take advantage of you? As the saying goes, don't look at indecent things. A gentleman has his ways, and there are also things he shouldn't do. You should quickly go and change on your own. Don't let this young master lose his reputation. Wang Kai turned his back and waved his hand with an indifferent expression. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Lose my reputation? The one who should lose my reputation is obviously me. Okay? Chiao Yu's beautiful eyes were filled with hidden bitterness. She really couldn't understand Wang Kai's alternating between good and evil personality. But now Wang Kai didn't agree. Chiyoyu had no choice but to bite her red lips, lift the bead curtain, and step into the carriage. At the same time, Wang Kai raised his head slightly and looked into the void. He squinted his eyes and smiled. The weather is so hot. Ben Xiao's body is so wet that it's uncomfortable. Buzz. Bang. Suddenly, the moment he finished speaking, Wang Kai's body trembled, and all the clothes on his body were torn apart on the spot. His body was completely exposed to the air, and there was not a single thread on him. The sun is shining in the sky, and the flowers are smiling at me. I'm taking a bath naked. This feeling is so good. Wang Kai stood at the front of the carriage with his hands on his waist. His body swayed, causing little Wang Kai below to sway with him. Crack! Senior sister Qing, who was deep in the 100 Flowers Pavilion, was furious when she saw this. Her face was red as she waved her jade-like hand and smashed the mirror into pieces. The middle-aged woman beside her was also speechless. She raised her hand and held her forehead. She was speechless and could only feel speechless. She had never thought that Wang Kai would do such a thing. He had rejected Chiyoyu's hint and thought that he was a good man. But who would have thought that such a shocking scene would occur? This was simply too shameless. She didn't know that Wang Kai's actions were intentional. Damn it, let's see if you still dare to scheme against Ben Xiao. Not only did you use a secret technique to spy on Ben Xiao, you even wanted to use some bullshit asterisk T illusion to play tricks with Ben Xiao. This is all Ben Xiao's leftover tricks, okay? In terms of scheming, Ben Xiao is everyone's ancestor. Wang Kai shrugged and sneered disdainfully in his heart. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 3rd rank Star God Realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the next rank. You have received 100 Star Source points. Chapter 866. Senior Sister Qing, who was unaware of Wang Kai's intentions, had already blacklisted him and bore a grudge against him. Putting aside the fact that he had taken advantage of her in the 100 Flower Garden, now that she had seen little Wang Kai, her anger could be imagined. Master, no matter what you want to do, I will not become a cultivation partner with such a villain. Whoosh! With that, Senior Sister Qing flew out of the pavilion in a flash, stepped into the clouds, and disappeared. In response, the middle-aged woman shook her head and sighed. With a wave of her hand, a cloud of mist appeared in midair, and Wang Kai's figure gradually appeared within it. At this moment, Wang Kai was already dressed neatly in white clothes. He held a folding fan in one hand behind his back, and the other hand holding the folding fan in front of his chest. His posture was vigorous, his face was handsome, and there was a slight smile on his face from time to time. He really looked like a distinguished and elegant young master. However, the more she looked at Wang Kai's gentlemanly appearance, the more the middle-aged woman could not accept it. Who would associate such a handsome man with an extraordinary temperament with a naked, swaggering, and singing licentious person from before? They were two extremes. What kind of person is this person? I, Li Baiwa, have cultivated for 10,000 years, and I have never met someone like him. The middle-aged woman shook her head and sighed. Bang! At the same time, Wang Kai, who had already arrived at the 100 Flower Pavilion, waved his hand to disperse the carriage created by the star-stepping technique. He stood in the air with Chiyoyu. There is no door. How do we enter the 100 Flower Pavilion? Wang Kai frowned and asked puzzledly. The action, just now, also prevented the illusion from appearing again. This was not far from what Wang Kai had guessed. If the illusion appeared again, Wang Kai would definitely let them see an even more ferocious scene. Only the highest level of the 100 Flower Pavilion can be entered. There is no door below. Moreover, if you want to reach the highest level, you have to endure the gravity. It is said that even a peak star god might be crushed to death if he wants to enter the highest level. Chiyoyu said softly. Even a peak star god could be suppressed to death. Upon hearing these words, Wang Kai's pupils immediately shrank. He could not help but raise his head to look at the black pavilion that pierced through the clouds. He said indifferently, "Your Valley Master is only at the Star God realm, right? Moreover, it seems like he's only a first rank." Whoosh! Chiu-Yu's beautiful eyes went blank when she heard this. She stared at Wang Kai in astonishment. She never thought that her Valley Master would be able to see through her so thoroughly before even showing himself. If that was the case, wouldn't that prove that Wang Kai's true cultivation was at least at the first level of the Star God realm? Although she was shocked, Chiu-Yu understood the meaning behind Wang Kai's words. "Young Master Wang, there's something you don't know. Although the Valley Master is a first-grade Star God and isn't considered the strongest cultivator in the unbreakable region, the 100-Flower Valley is only able to establish itself in the unbreakable region because of the 100-Flower Pavilion," Chiu-Yu explained softly. Did that mean that the Pavilion of Blossoms was a treasure? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and shrugged his shoulders in an indifferent manner. Soon after, he rose into the air and headed straight for the highest level. Along the way, he did not feel the slightest bit of pressure. It was as if he was walking on flat ground. Chiu-Yu's beautiful eyes went blank when she saw this scene. She then sighed and said, "It seems that the Valley Master has dispersed the gravity." Ah! Bang! Splash! However, when Chiu-Yu wanted to follow him, she was directly suppressed by the powerful gravity and fell into the long river. How? How is this possible? Young Master Wang is actually this strong? Chiu-Yu, who had surfaced on the water, ignored the wet feeling on her body and looked up at Wang Kai, who had already disappeared into the clouds. She was so shocked that she could not speak for a long time. This scene also happened to fall into the eyes of Qing Shi, who was hidden in the clouds. Like Chiu-Yu, senior sister Qing was also extremely shocked. Even if she wanted to rely on her own strength to enter the Pavilion of Blossoms, it was completely impossible. In the end, she could only reach the halfway point. I vaguely remember that when the young master of the divine sect came here, he only reached 3/10 of the height. He was still some distance away from reaching the halfway point, but he was able to reach the highest level. Senior sister Qing frowned even more. She could not figure out how Wang Kai could reach the top of the Pavilion of Blossoms so easily. It should be known that the gravity of the Pavilion of Blossoms had nothing to do with the talent and aptitude of the person who entered. If one wanted to enter the Pavilion of Blossoms so easily, one had to have a strong cultivation. A peak 9th grade Star God could reach the highest level of the Pavilion of Blossoms, but there was also a possibility that he would die. However, Wang Kai was merely a peak Star Emperor. Could he be a peak 9th grade Star God? Has he hidden his true cultivation? Senior sister Qing murmured softly. Suddenly, she had the thought of returning to the Pavilion of Blossoms. However, when she thought about how she had decided to leave, wouldn't her master make fun of her if she returned? Thinking of this, senior sister Qing could only suppress her curiosity and hide in the clouds to secretly spy on him. At the same time, Wang Kai, who had already reached the highest level of the Pavilion of Blossoms, looked at a beautiful middle-aged woman sitting there. Her mature temperament made Wang Kai's eyes light up. Her appearance was also not bad, and her figure could also be called outstanding. Coupled with such a mature temperament, really not bad. TSK, looks like you're the master of Blossoms Valley, right? You're a peak 1st grade Star God, and not far from 2nd grade Star God, Wang Kai said with a smile, one hand behind his back and the other waving a folding fan. When she heard this, the eyes of the middle-aged woman, called Li Baiwa, hardened. She was extremely shocked that Wang Kai was able to see through her cultivation level and was able to do so in such detail. Moreover, when she tried to spy on Wang Kai's real cultivation level, she found that she couldn't see anything at all. You don't have to spy on him. Venxio's cultivation level is higher than yours, and his star power is at the 9th grade for the time being, Wang Kai said with a faint smile. Wang Kai swore that this was the first time he had spoken the truth. 9th grade star power, and his cultivation level is higher than mine. However, such words made Li Baiwa frown, and a touch of joy flashed in her eyes. Of course, she would believe Wang Kai's words. After all of his actions were in direct proportion to his cultivation level, and his strength was beyond her expectations. That's right. This is only Ben Xiao's temporary cultivation level. If Ben Xiao wants to, he can reach the strongest level in the sky domain in one breath. He can destroy the sky domain and even the entire universe with a wave of his hand. Wang Kai nodded slightly and smiled proudly. Congratulations to the host for successfully boasting. You have received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. Even though she would believe him, such words made Li Baihua speechless. She held her forehead and sighed. Young Master Wang, can you maintain your gentlemanly demeanor for a while longer? That disciple of mine bears a grudge against you. Gentlemanly demeanor? Maintain it for a while longer? Hearing this, Wang Kai frowned and said with disdain, What are you saying? Ben Xiao has always been a gentleman. Okay, is there need to maintain it? Also, who is your disciple? She dares to hate Ben Xiao. Do you believe that Ben Xiao will pin her to the wall? Congratulations to the host for successfully boasting. You have received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. Chapter 867. Buff. Hearing this, Li Baihua's frown deepened. She thought about it for a long time, but still could not figure out what it meant. However, judging from Wang Kai's expression and tone, she knew that it was definitely not something good. Thinking of this, even though she was curious and wanted to know what a buff was, she could only endure it and not ask. However, just because she did not ask, it did not mean that Wang Kai would not tell her. Look at your puzzled face. Fine, I'll let Ben Xiao tell you. The so-called buff is an item used by awesome people to give birth. It's long, very long, thick, very thick. A curly-brimmed hat is long, thick, fat, black and white, and can even spray water. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled playfully. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Whoosh! Hearing these words, Li Baihua's face instantly darkened. Her eyes were filled with anger, especially when she could not help but recall the scene of Wang Kai, the Hundred Flowers River. Wasn't that the thing swaying below the river the item used to give birth to children? How hateful! Why do you look so upset? Ben Xiao is only helping you solve your doubts. Do you know how many people beg Ben Xiao to help them solve their problems, but they can't even get their wishes fulfilled until they die? Wang Kai shrugged and looked at Li Baihua with a look that said, You've struck gold. How can a person be so shameless? At this moment, Li Baihua was in a state of intense shock. She could not believe that Wang Kai could be so shameless. All the good feelings and admiration she had for him before had completely vanished. I'm really surprised that young Master Wang is so humorous. If there's time, I'd really like to have a long talk with you. Unfortunately, it's getting late. You should leave first. Li Baihua frowned and forced a smile as she suppressed her anger. If it weren't for Wang Kai's talent and unfathomable cultivation, he would have attacked him long ago. It's not too late. Ben Xiao has never been particular about time. Tonight, I'll stay here and have a long talk with you. Well, it's okay to be honest with you. Although Ben Xiao is the most honorable person in the world, he doesn't mind your low status. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled indifferently. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 4th stage Star God Realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through. You have received 100 Star Source points. A man and a woman alone in the middle of the night. Should they be honest with each other? Such words made Li Baihua go crazy. She had never imagined that Wang Kai would be so undisciplined and out of control. You back down. Li Baihua suppressed her anger and said in a deep voice with an ugly expression, Do you think Ben Xiao is a servant? You let Ben Xiao come and go as he pleases, and let Ben Xiao leave as he pleases? Aren't you a little too arrogant? Have you recognized your status? Wang Kai's expression changed. His expression was cold as he shouted in a sinister tone. Swoosh! Li Baihua's expression froze. Her beautiful eyes lost focus for a moment. She didn't expect Wang Kai to use his status to suppress her. Humph, in the unbreakable region, other than the unbreakable region master, I don't even fear the #1 faction, Sky God Sect. Why would I care about the #2 faction, Wang family? Li Baihua snorted in disdain. Unbreakable region master? The #1 faction in the region master city was the Sky God Sect. The #2 faction was the Wang family. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows slightly when he heard this. He still had no idea how strong the Divine Sky Sect and the Wang family were. However, this 100-Flower Valley Master was only a first-stage star god. Wasn't it a little strange that she dared to be so arrogant? Are you relying on the 100-Flower Pavilion? Oh, let me tell you in advance. The gravity of the 100-Flower Pavilion is ineffective against Ben Shao. Wang Kai said indifferently with his hands behind his back. Ineffective? Li Baihua's eyes narrowed when she heard this. She immediately flipped her hand and activated the 100-Flower Pavilion, causing the gravity to double and attack Wang Kai. Buzz. However, the result was like a gentle breeze. It lifted Wang Kai's robe, but he didn't see the result he wanted. 10 million times. 10 million times. Li Baihua continued to increase the gravity, but the result was the same. It was useless against Wang Kai. Initially, Wang Kai could easily reach the highest level because Li Baihua had intentionally lowered the pressure of the gravity. But now Li Baihua had increased the gravity to the strongest level, but it still couldn't do anything to Wang Kai. Then, how strong was Wang Kai's cultivation? A peak 9th grade star god wouldn't be able to deal with the gravity without batting an eyelid. But Wang Kai could do it. Are you at the Sovereign Realm? A thought flashed through Li Baihua's mind, causing her to stand up in shock. Sovereign Realm? He wasn't afraid of the Divine Sect or the Wang family. He was only afraid of the Domain Master. Did this mean that the Domain Master was at the Sovereign Realm? Then, the realm that the 100-Flower Pavilion could suppress was the Star God Realm. The Divine Sect and the Wang family were at the Star God Realm. In an instant, many answers appeared in Wang Kai's mind. Hee, I didn't want you to know, but who knew that you would be so rude? The 100-Flower Pavilion is just a treasure. In Ben Shao's eyes, it's no different from shit. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled indifferently, indirectly admitting that he was at the Sovereign Realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. The real reason why he wasn't afraid of the 100-Flower Pavilion suppression was because of his system, not to mention a treasure that could only suppress Star God Realm cultivators. Even a treasure at the Sovereign Realm would be ineffective against Wang Kai as long as it had something to do with restricting illusions. I'd like to see how strong you are. Guessing was guessing, but Li Baihua still didn't believe it. It was already shocking enough that a young man in his 20s could reach the peak 9th grade Star God Realm. Could he really be at the Sovereign Realm? In an instant, Li Baihua moved and waved her jade-like hand. A long sword appeared in the palm of her hand, and she stabbed it directly at Wang Kai's heart. Thunder and fire. Buzz. Puff. Puff. Wang Kai shouted softly and stood there motionlessly, allowing the long sword to pierce his heart. However, when the long sword pierced into his body, there was no trace of blood. What appeared was only a mixture of purple-white and fiery red flames. This! Li Baihua was shocked. Her expression changed drastically as she tried to pull her sword back. However, when she tried to pull her sword back, she lost her balance and fell to the ground. However, her gaze was fixed on Wang Kai's chest from beginning to end. The wound caused by the long sword flickered with purplish-white and fiery red lightning flames. Furthermore, it was gradually healing. You spied on Ben Shao and secretly used illusions to plot against Ben Shao. Now, you want to drive Ben Shao away. When you failed, you still dare to attack. Do you know how big of a crime you have committed? Wang Kai said indifferently with his hands behind his back. Chapter 868. I don't believe that you're really invulnerable. Dazzling 100 flowers. Swoosh, swoosh. Swoosh, swoosh. Puffed, 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 puffed. All of a sudden, Li Baiwa got up, summoned her long sword, and attacked Wang Kai again. This time, it was 100 times fiercer than before. It was just one strike, but now it was countless strikes. Sword shadows flashed, dazzling like illusions. Stabbing, sweeping, flicking, and even slashing were used. It could be said that she hit every part of Wang Kai's body. However, when Li Baihua's blood was boiling and she stopped attacking, she discovered that Wang Kai's body was covered in thunderfire. She couldn't see any flesh or bones at all. It was as if he had no blood, flesh, or bones. Dazzling 100 flowers? Such a powerful star technique. It must be at the level of a star god, right? Haha. Unfortunately, your cultivation level is too low. Even if you have a star god star technique, you can't hurt Bin Xiao at all. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled calmly. Looking at Wang Kai, who had already recovered from all his wounds, Li Baiwa felt nothing but despair. She only felt her scalp turn numb. He stood there and let you kill him, but you can't kill him. Not to mention killing him, you can't even hurt him. How can you deal with such an opponent? He's too difficult to deal with. Little did she know that Thunder Fire was an invincible star technique. As long as one's cultivation level didn't exceed Wang Kai's by too much, all his attacks could be nullified. If they hit his body, it wouldn't hurt his foundation at all. It would all be healed and blocked by the Thunder Fire. You should know how to talk to Ben Xiao now, right? Wang Kai squinted and smiled mockingly. The gravity of the 100 Flowers Pavilion was nullified, and so was the attack. Li Baihua swore that this was the first time she had encountered such a terrifying thing in her life. Young Master Wang, your cultivation level is high, and I'm ashamed of my inferiority. However, this is the unbreakable region. If the unbreakable region Lord finds out that someone like you is hiding in the Wang family, I'm afraid the Wang family won't be kind, right? Li Baihua said in a low voice. TSK, TSK, you're interesting. Wang Kai smacked his lips and exclaimed in admiration. He didn't expect her to threaten him instead of using force. If he was really a member of the Wang clan, then so be it. But he wasn't. Whether or not the Wang clan is hiding such an awesome expert like Bin Xiao, do you think that Azura would not know? Furthermore, who the hell was Unbreakable Region Master? If he doesn't like it, Bin Xiao will teach him a lesson. Wang Kai curled his lips in disdain. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Unable to teach the domain master a lesson? Hearing such words, Li Baihua was slightly shocked. Could it be that the current Wang clan was already so powerful? He didn't even fear the Unbreakable Region Master? Young Master Wang, what exactly do you want? Li Baihua asked with an ugly expression. He really didn't know how to deal with someone like Wang Kai. It was as if any method was useless against him. It wouldn't hurt him at all. Didn't Bin Xiao just say that he wants to have a long talk with you? We'll spend the night together and be frank with each other. Wang Kai blinked and chuckled softly. Whoosh! Li Baihua's beautiful eyes went blank when she heard this. Her face froze on the spot. She never thought that Wang Kai's real goal was to obtain her. There were so many young female disciples in the 100 Flower Valley, but he wanted her? Don't go overboard. Li Baihua scolded in a low voice. Since the establishment of the 100 Flower Valley, she had always kept her chastity. She had never had an ambiguous relationship with any man. Moreover, Wang Kai was a young man in his 20s. How could she have an ambiguous relationship with him? Did you get the wrong idea? Wang Kai rubbed his nose and asked in surprise. Even if he wanted to have fun with a beauty, he wouldn't choose such an old guy. Although Li Baihua was pretty, Wang Kai didn't have such thoughts. His words just now were just meant to tease her. Bastard. Arrogant. Don't insult my master. If you have any ill intentions, you can come at me. Buzz. Suddenly, an angry voice was heard, and Senior Sister Qing's graceful figure floated in from outside the pavilion and stood in front of Li Baihua. Senior Sister Qing naturally saw and heard all of Wang Kai's actions. Now that she saw that he actually wanted to disrespect her master, she really couldn't endure it any longer. Come at you. Wang Kai's brow furrowed as he looked Senior Sister Qing up and down, rubbing his chin as he grinned and said, Good, then I'll come for you. You shameless. Senior Sister Qing blushed and pursed her red lips. She held the long sword in her hand, and her delicate body trembled. Even Li Baihua was no match for Wang Kai. Senior Sister Qing knew very well that she couldn't defeat Wang Kai. It could be said that Senior Sister Qing was prepared from the moment she stepped into the 100 Flowers Pavilion. However, when it came to the real fight, Senior Sister Qing was more afraid. CKU. Who's shameless? First, your master misunderstood my intentions. Then, you rushed out and scolded me. You even shouted that if there was a problem, I would come for you. Since that's the case, I'll come for you. What are you going to do? Wang Kai shrugged and snorted disdainfully. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? For a moment, Senior Sister Qing was stunned. She racked her brains, but couldn't think of a corresponding plan. Damn it. Ben Xiao didn't show his power. Do you really think Ben Xiao is a fool? You're already so old. How do you even think that this young master was going to do that kind of thing to you? And you, Ben Xiao has agreed to come at you. What are you afraid of? Weren't you very strong just now? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and sneered disdainfully. Whoosh! Hearing Wang Kai's words, whether it was Li Baihua or Senior Sister Qing, both of them blushed and felt extremely embarrassed. However, they couldn't refute him. Only now did they realize that Wang Kai's previous words were intentional. He wanted to take the opportunity to humiliate them. Forget it. Ben Xiao won't waste any more time with you. Remember to take out the best thing and give it to the 4th-generation disciple called Qiuyu. As for the two of you, Ben Xiao has no interest in you. I only came to the 100-Flower Valley to have some fun. Goodbye. Wang Kai waved his hand and smiled casually. If he had wanted to do something with Senior Sister Qing before, he didn't have the slightest bit of desire now. In Wang Kai's words, it was boring. Buzz. With that, Wang Kai turned around and stepped into the air. He waved his hand and summoned a chariot, which sped off into the distance. It seems that we were a little stupid. We shouldn't have treated him like that. Since he was able to reach such heights, how could his character be bad? Those were all illusions he deliberately put on. Li Baihua's beautiful eyes flickered slightly as she shook her head and sighed regretfully. In response, Senior Sister Qing only frowned as she looked in the direction Wang Kai had left without saying anything. Chapter 869. Inside the 100 Flowers Garden. At this moment, other than Zhuofang Shenu and his 3 followers, there were only 4 beautiful women who were still by their side. The rest of the people, whether it was the young masters or the female disciples of the 100 Flowers Valley, had already left. Wang Kai, who had just arrived, saw them chatting happily. He could not help but rub his nose and shake his head with a sigh. If I had known this would happen, I wouldn't have acted so pretentiously just now. That way, I would have been able to get Senior Sister Qing and wouldn't be alone. In Wang Kai's opinion, if there were no beautiful women by his side, he would not be able to walk the streets. Ah, boss. What's wrong, young mansion master? I'm here. CKU. I'm not talking to you. Zhuofang Shenu was instantly enraged. He cursed Zhuofang Shenu and looked at Wang Kai in the sky. From now on, call Ben Xiao young Master Kai. Wang Kai shrugged and said indifferently, Yes, young Master Kai. It's a good name, Zhuofang Shenu said with a smile. In response, Zhuofang Shenu, and Zhuofang Shenu quickly responded. Even the female disciples of the 100 Flowers Valley who had followed Zhuofang Shenu and the others because they wanted to go to the territorial capital city also called out. In their opinion, since they were not good enough for Wang Kai, they could at least settle for the second best. Young Master Kai, I wonder if you've taken Senior Sister Qing? Why don't I see her? Zhuofang Shenu winked and laughed softly. Upon hearing this, the corner of Wang Kai's mouth twitched slightly. He could not help but rub his nose and cough twice. Not only have I taken her, but I've already had sex with her. She's going to give birth next year. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. What? When the 4th generation female disciples heard these words, Their beautiful eyes widened in shock as they stared at Wang Kai in disbelief. They did not expect Senior Sister Qing to really fall for him. F***CK so fast? It's only been a few hours. Not only did she take him down, she even got pregnant? Zhuofang Shinu was also a little dumbfounded. Cultivators were not ordinary people. If they wanted children, they could do so at any time. If they did not want children, they would not have children no matter how long it took. Therefore, Zhuofang Shinu and the others somewhat believed Wang Kai's words. It was just that he couldn't believe it for a moment. Nonsense. Who do you think Ben Xiao is? If a bull were to fling it out, it would be able to shatter the sky domain into countless pieces. It would just make a woman pregnant. Isn't that easy? Wang Kai said casually with his hands behind his back. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to host for successfully breaking through to the 5th stage Star God realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through. You have received 100 star source points. Host, Wang Kai profession, Star Warrior realm. 5th rank Star God title. Peerless bragging, shaking the universe star magic. Karma Great Tao magic star technique. 5 thunder sky covering palm. Yin and yang. Body turns into thunder and fire. Star stepping identification. Torch dragon's eye equipment. Sky halberd star power. Level 9 star source points. 3, 400 constitution. Invulnerable guardian beast. None bragging points. 4000000 experience. 040000000 upon hearing the notification and seeing the system page that suddenly appeared in front of him. Wang Kai couldn't help but raise his brows slightly. He thought to himself in bewilderment, is it to tell Ben Xiao that Sun Wukong has disappeared again? Did Sun Wukong become weak again? Or did I become stronger too quickly and Sun Wukong couldn't keep up? No matter what, since the system page did not record him, it meant that his cultivation level was not enough to be recorded. Young Master Kai, are we leaving now? Seeing that Wang Kai actually walked out of the 100 Flowers Valley, Zhuofang Shinu and the others looked at each other in surprise. Since Senior Sister Qing was already pregnant, why did Wang Kai still have to leave? Okay, let's go back to the Domain Lord City first, but we have to walk back, Wang Kai said with a faint smile with his hands behind his back. Ever since he started cultivating, he had been walking in the air most of the time. Now that he was walking, Wang Kai began to miss it. He had no choice but to admit that human nature was like that. When one could fly, one would want to walk, but when one couldn't, all they could think about was flying. To Wang Kai, who had never liked cultivating his state of mind, the fundamental character of a person could not be erased. Walking to the Domain Lord City. Oh my God. Zhuofang Shinu held his forehead and sighed. The others also seemed to be in a dilemma. If they wanted to walk to the Domain Lord City from here, wouldn't they have to walk for hundreds of years? What exactly was Wang Kai thinking? At the entrance of the 100 Flowers Valley, when Wang Kai and the rest arrived, a handsome man wearing a white robe, a jade crown on his head, and a folding fan in his hand stood in front of the valley door. He was so handsome that he was even more feminine than a woman. Senior Sister Qing, is that you? Are you going out too? The female disciples of the 4th generation looked at each other and naturally recognized Senior Sister Qing. They couldn't be more familiar with Senior Sister Qing, who had disguised herself as a man many times. Similarly, Wang Kai also recognized her. Her temperament and aura couldn't be concealed. In fact, Senior Sister Qing didn't try to hide it at all. Anyone who was familiar with her could tell at a glance. The 4 of you like to become Taoist companions, but whether they are worthy of you still needs to be tested. Therefore, Master ordered me to go with you, Senior Sister Qing said faintly. Oh, hearing this, the 4 female disciples of the 4th generation nodded gently. They didn't think there was anything wrong with it. Before they were married, they were still disciples of the 100 Flowers Valley. You admire Ben Xiao. If you want to follow him, just follow him. Why do you have to find so many excuses? You even dressed up as a man. It's fine if you dress up, but can't you completely cover up that big thing in front of your chest? Who wouldn't know you're a woman? Wang Kai curled his lips and said disdainfully, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points." After hearing this, Senior Sister Ching's expression suddenly changed. Her eyes were filled with coldness as she indifferently said, "Don't be so narcissistic. Me going out this time has nothing to do with you. Also, I didn't dress like this to let others know I'm a man." She didn't want others to think she was a man? Then why did she disguise herself as a man? A special hobby? Thinking of this, the corner of Wang Kai's mouth twitched slightly. He had goosebumps all over his body. He didn't expect Senior Sister Ching to have such a hobby. Young Master Kai, Senior Sister Ching has always wanted to find a perfect Taoist companion to cultivate with and travel the entire sky domain. Unfortunately, she has never met a perfect Taoist companion. Therefore, Senior Sister Ching treated herself as her Taoist companion and presented herself as a perfect Taoist companion. The woman in blue beside Zhuofang Shenu reminded him softly. Chapter 870. So that's how it is? Wang Kai was startled when he heard this. He hadn't expected Senior Sister Ching's requirements to be so high. If she wanted to find a Tao companion, she had to be perfect. "Lana, you talk too much," Senior Sister Ching said coldly. "Yes, Senior Sister Ching. I know my mistake." The girl in blue stuck out her tongue and bowed. Then, she hid behind Zhuofang Shenu. "It's a pity that there is no perfect person in this world, and it's impossible for there to be one. Forget it. If you want to follow, then follow. Just don't cause trouble for this young master." Wang Kai shrugged and said with a rather casual expression. Senior Apprentice Sister Ching's eyes flashed. She naturally understood the meaning behind Wang Kai's words. It was truly difficult to find a perfect person. However, she firmly believed that perfect people existed in this world. "You have such a strong cultivation. Are you afraid of trouble?" Senior Sister Ching snorted disdainfully. Wang Kai's face darkened when he saw her waving her fan like a handsome prince. Once upon a time, wasn't she his favorite pretentious outfit? However, the big thing in front of her chest was an insult to her beauty. Anyone who saw her would know that she was a girl. "Of course I'm afraid, but I'm afraid of trouble. Ben Xiao doesn't like trouble," Wang Kai said indifferently with his hands behind his back. With that, Wang Kai strode out of the Hundred Flowers Valley. Seeing this, Zhuofang Shenu and the others naturally followed. However, the fourth-generation female disciple named Lan slowed down and came to Senior Sister Ching's side. "Senior Sister Ching, are you okay? It's a long journey. If something goes wrong, won't it be bad for your health?" Lana whispered. "Bad for your health? A long journey?" Senior Sister Ching's eyes flashed when she heard this. She looked at her with a puzzled expression and said softly, "As cultivators, let alone hundreds of years, even thousands of years won't cause any harm to our bodies." "But, Junior Sister Lan, why do you say so?" Senior Sister Ching, aren't you pregnant?" Lana tilted her head and asked in surprise. She was pregnant. Whoosh. Senior Sister Ching's face darkened. She glared at Lana and scolded. "Who said that?" However, before Lana could reply, Senior Sister Ching already had her answer. She quickly caught up with Wang Kai and scolded him. "Master Wang Kai, you're not human. Oh my God, are you looking for trouble?" Wang Kai stopped in his tracks and glared at her sharply. He curled his lips and snorted. "Then you're right. Ben Xiao is indeed not a human. He's a god. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points." "Ew. Why did you say that I'm pregnant?" Senior Sister Ching pursed her red lips. When she said this, her cheeks were slightly red. "Pregnant?" Wang Kai raised his brows slightly when he heard this. He looked at her up and down, squinted his eyes, and asked, "Are you pregnant? How many months? Who is it? Don't say this out loud. It'll cause a misunderstanding." "Huh?" Senior Sister Ching frowned when she heard this. She was angry when she saw Wang Kai's thoughtful expression. However, The answer he gave didn't sound like he was the one who would say it. Could it be that someone else is the one who said that I'm pregnant? Senior Sister Ching's face turned even redder as she thought of this. She coldly glanced at Wang Kai before she hurriedly turned around and sent a voice transmission to Lan'er. Lan'er, who said that? It's Master Wang. Lan'er blinked her beautiful eyes and replied, Buzz. Wang Kai. Hearing this answer, Senior Apprentice Sister Ching was dazed for a moment. She never thought that she would be played by Wang Kai. However, when she turned around to berate him, she discovered that Wang Kai had already walked very far away. Furthermore, he was still looking back from time to time and using that annoying smile to look at her. You bastard! Senior Sister Ching shouted angrily. Wife, don't be angry. You'll hurt the baby. Isn't that bad? Ha ha! Wang Kai waved his hand and laughed loudly. Damn bastard! Senior Sister Ching was even more furious when she heard this. However, she didn't know how to punish Wang Kai. She couldn't beat him. Moreover, once she hit him, she didn't know what kind of revenge he would take. For Senior Sister Ching, it was unwise to fight with Wang Kai. At this moment, he could only endure and wait until he grasped Wang Kai's weakness before attacking him. What's wrong with them? They haven't said anything along the way. After 3 days of walking, Lan'er finally couldn't help asking in a low voice. What do you know? It's all the Cold War. When a woman is pregnant, she has an inexplicable temper. Young Master Kai is a good man who doesn't want to lower himself to a woman's level. Therefore, he won't talk to sister-in-law Ching at this time. Zhuofang Shina whispered. Is that so? Why does it sound like you're deliberately covering up for young Master Kai? Lan'er pouted and snorted unhappily. No. I'm not covering up for him. Young Master Kai is such a powerful man. Why would I cover up for him? What's more, what does their matter have to do with us? Don't forget, she's pregnant and we haven't held hands yet. Come, let Brother New hold hands. Zhuofang Shinu rubbed his hands and chuckled. Lan'er blinked her beautiful eyes and put her hands behind her back. She said disdainfully, Dream on. Don't even think about touching me before we're officially married. At the same time, eldest brother Zhuofang, second brother Zhuofang, and third brother Zhuofang also looked very bitter at this moment. Just like Zhuofang Shinu. Even if Wang Kai got the female disciple of the 100-Flower Valley to follow him, it was not so easy to taste the sweetness. Until now, they hadn't even held hands. This kind of feeling could be imagined. Tea shop? Let's have a cup of tea and take a break. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and glanced at the tea shop at the foot of the mountain not far ahead. He couldn't help but touch his nose with a smile and quickly walked over. In this regard, Senior Sister Ching's face was cold, and she naturally followed closely behind. Senior Sister Ching was very unwilling to accept that she couldn't defeat Wang Kai, but if she could grasp his weakness, the result would be different. Now, surveillance was naturally the most important thing. Oh, welcome, handsome guests. Seeing Wang Kai and the others walking over, a shop assistant hurriedly came forward to greet them. The clothes and temperament of Wang Kai and others made many cultivators who were drinking tea frown and look at them. Where's this place? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes, found a seat and sat down, and asked softly with a smile. Sir, this is the border between Ancient Sword City and the 100-Flower Valley. It's called Crouching Dragon Mountain, the waiter quickly answered. Chapter 871. Crouching Dragon Mountain? Wang Kai raised an eyebrow and rubbed his chin. Seems like this mountain knows that Ben Shao is coming, so it named itself Crouching Dragon. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. Whoosh! Everyone was shocked when they heard this. Be it the waiter, Zhuofang Shinu, or even the surrounding customers, they were all stunned. Who would have thought that the first thing this brat said when he came up was to brag about himself? This is Crouching Dragon Mountain. It's named because it's shaped like a dragon. What does it have to do with you? That's right. Stop acting tough here. Two ear-piercing voices rang out, causing Wang Kai to raise his eyebrows. He turned around and looked at the two young men sitting behind him. They were dressed in coarse linen clothes, and their faces were extremely ugly. Although the two of them were ugly, they looked very similar. They should be brothers. Wang Kai's brows relaxed. Looking at their clothes and appearance, he didn't intend to argue with them. Otherwise, he wouldn't let any of them off easily for exposing his bragging. Oh, that should be winged dragon or some other kind of dragon resting here and turning into stone. Ben Shao is very knowledgeable. His eyes can see through everything in the world. This mountain can't hide from Ben Shao's eyes. Wang Kai said with his hands behind his back. He vaguely remembered that in the immortal martial domain, there was a winged dragon that couldn't be seen through. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 6th stage Star God realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 6th stage. You have received 100 star source points. F***CK, you're too pretentious. This was clearly carved into the shape of a dragon a few thousand years ago by a powerful cultivator who was successful in his cultivation. In order to commemorate his 1,000 years of seclusion, he carved this mountain into the shape of a dragon. Yeah, what does it have to do with you? Before the crowd could react, the two ugly and sloppily dressed brothers spoke in succession. Facing this, Wang Kai's face was as black as ink. He never would have thought that these two trash would be so ungrateful. He didn't argue with them earlier, but now they were trying to undermine him. F***CKU. If this young master says he's a dragon, then he's a dragon. If you keep spouting nonsense, this young master will directly turn you two into fossils. Wang Kai frowned and coldly snorted with a rather displeased expression. Bang! Bang! Bragging. In an instant, the two brothers slapped the table and stood up. After looking at each other, they sneered and said, "Kid, I've been unhappy with you for a long time. You actually brought so many servants and beautiful women with you when you went out. If you don't give them all to us today, you'll have to bear the consequences. Yes, you'll be responsible. Impudent. Which country bumpkin dares to provoke young Master Wang?" Bang! Zhuofang Shinu came back to his senses and quickly stood up to scold them. At the same time, he waved his hand and shot out his star source energy, causing the two men to fly back while vomiting blood. You're so weak, yet you want to act tough like others? Wang Kai was stunned when he saw this. He couldn't help but touch his nose, feeling speechless. At first, he thought they were strong. After a long time, they were so weak. I can't see their cultivation level. Suddenly, just as Wang Kai wanted to see their cultivation level, he realized that he couldn't see through it at all. Shinu, come back. Wang Kai frowned and said indifferently. There were only two reasons why he couldn't see through their cultivation level. They had a treasure, and their cultivation level was higher than his. We brothers are famous for not being able to die. If you have the guts, continue. Let's see if you die of exhaustion first, or if we'll be killed by you first. The tall young man grinned hideously. At the same time, the two men got up from the ground and wiped the blood off the corners of their mouths. Their auras were not weak at all, and they stood there without any injuries. It was as if the blood was not spat out by them. Acting tough, Zhuofang Shinu was disdainful. He didn't listen to Wang Kai's advice. He cupped his fists and said, "Young Master Kai, they are just two idiots. Let me beat them up." Buzz. Before Wang Kai could say anything, Zhuofang Shun angrily rushed over. With a flurry of punches and kicks, he sent the two men flying high into the sky before they fell back down. However, no matter how hard he beat them up, there was only one result. The two brothers were unscathed. Moreover, their cultivation levels were also rising. The peak of the Star Venerable Realm. They had reached the same cultivation level as Zhuofang Shenu. Seeing this, Wang Kai frowned. He couldn't see through their cultivation level just now. Now, after being beaten up, they had reached the peak of the Star Venerable Realm? It's really strange. F***CKU. Why are you so tough? Zhuofang Shinu was so tired that he was panting. He couldn't even maintain his standing posture. After cursing, he fell to the ground directly. Obviously, Zhuo Fangxinu's cultivation aura had weakened. It was so weak that it was almost inaudible. "Ha ha! I told you to beat him up as you like. I gave you a chance, but you were useless. Yeah, now it's our turn, right?" Buzz. Suddenly, the two brothers moved and attacked Zhuo Fangxinu from both sides. Zhuo Fangxinu, who was already weak, could only watch helplessly. He couldn't summon any strength at all. "Damn it! What's going on? Why is my strength gone?" Zhuo Fangxinu shouted in a hoarse voice. "Stop it!" Bang! Rumble. With a soft voice, Wang Kai's figure appeared in front of Zhuo Fangxinu. With a casual wave of his hand, he sent the two brothers flying back. "Lan'er, take Shina back," Wang Kai said calmly. Lan'er, who was already dumbfounded, responded immediately. "Your cultivation level is really high. Hee, big brother, let him beat us up. Wouldn't us brothers be even more awesome?" The result was the same. The two brothers were not injured at all. They got up from the ground directly. They didn't even take Wang Kai seriously and talked in a low voice. Seeing this, Wang Kai squinted his eyes slightly. He couldn't help but shake his head and laugh. "Do you think Ben Shao can't hurt you?" Whoosh! As soon as he said this, the two brothers narrowed their eyes and stared at Wang Kai. They sneered in unison. "Do you think you can hurt us?" "Hee, you two brothers are very special. You can actually absorb the power of the cultivator who beat you for your own use. This is the first time Ben Shao has seen such a thing. Cultivation technique? Martial technique? Or physique?" Wang Kai asked with a faint smile with his hands behind his back. Chapter 872. "I'm afraid you won't have the chance to know. Brother Hu, let's go." "Yes, Brother Long." Buzz. Suddenly, the two brothers leaped into the sky and stacked on top of each other, yelling at the same time, "Ultimate skill! Dragon and tiger hiding clouds!" Ugh! Seeing this, Wang Kai's lips twitched slightly. He did not expect such a weird move. The two of them stacked on top of each other like a human pyramid. Furthermore, the name was so weird. It was called Ultimate Skill, cough, cough, get lost. Wang Kai waved his hand and said with a rather disdainful expression, "Bang, bang, rumble." In an instant, with a gentle wave of Wang Kai's hand, the two brothers were sent flying back again. Again, they did not suffer any injuries. However, their cultivation had reached the 9th grade Star Emperor realm. It was even possible for them to reach the Star God realm. Seeing this, Wang Kai's eyes shrank slightly. He had to admit that the two of them were indeed weird. They had reached such a high level after absorbing his strength. However, it seemed that their strength could not be absorbed all at once. They could only gradually improve their cultivation by being beaten again and again. Peak 9th grade Star Emperor realm. What the F asterisk asterisk K? This kid is so powerful. Brother Long swallowed his saliva and said. Brother, who was also shocked, and said in a dry voice, "It seems like this is not his real strength. It's far from enough." In an instant, the two brothers fixed their eyes on Wang Kai. Their eyes emitted a green glow as if they were looking at a peerless treasure. Most importantly, he doesn't know us at all, and he doesn't know who we are. Hee, we can't let go of such a good opportunity. Go, Brother Hu. All right, Brother Long. Ultimate skill, dragon and tiger deity suppression. Buzz. After whispering to each other, the two brothers leaped into the sky again. Furthermore, their moves and postures were exactly the same as before. It was just that the name was changed. Seeing this scene, Wang Kai was truly speechless. He secretly thought that not only were these two brothers very strange, they were also very strange. Yin and Yang One thought, "Rest." Suddenly, Wang Kai's figure disappeared, causing the two brothers' attacks to land on the ground. Body movement star technique? The two brothers frowned deeply with a look of worry in their eyes. Actually, Ben Shao doesn't need to know who you are. You have too many weaknesses. For example, before you reach the same level as Ben Shao, you won't be able to keep up with Ben Shao's speed. Secondly, if the strong hit you, your cultivation will increase. But what if the weak hit you? Thirdly, Even if I don't beat you, I can still imprison you. Fourthly, and this is something that only Ben Shao can do, he can separate all of your assets without killing you. As Wang Kai's voice fell, the two brothers' faces turned ashen as the corners of their mouths twitched nonstop. They even had thoughts of escaping. Indeed, they were well aware of the weaknesses that Wang Kai had mentioned. If it weren't for the fact that they had too many weaknesses, the two brothers wouldn't have ended up in such a miserable state. Wouldn't they have become the overlords of a region long ago? However, the two brothers didn't run away. Instead, they were rather curious about the fourth weakness that Wang Kai had mentioned. We've already admitted to the first three weaknesses that you mentioned, and we don't want to become enemies with you. But what do you mean by the fourth one? Yes, the fourth one is to separate our bodies and not kill us. The two brothers looked at each other and asked in bewilderment. Whoosh! Wang Kai's figure flashed and appeared in front of them. He raised his hand and waved it before saying calmly, "All beings cut." Buzz. Thump. Thump. Suddenly, under this palm, the bodies of the two brothers were directly cut into dozens of pieces. Just like that, they scattered on the ground. There was not the slightest trace of blood, nor were they dead. Their body parts were still moving. Whoosh! Seeing this scene, everyone turned pale with fright. Apart from senior sister Qing, Zhuofang Shinu, and the rest, the other guests all ran away in an instant. It was as if they had seen a ghost. Well, what kind of move is this? F*CK, you brother Long. Why did you have to ask? Now, we don't even have a chance to escape. F*CK, don't you want to know what our weaknesses are? In an instant, the two brothers' heads rolled on the ground, but they didn't die at all. They started to quarrel with each other. There's actually such a strange technique in the world. Senior sister Qing frowned. Her beautiful eyes were rippling with extraordinary splendor, and she couldn't believe it. She had never seen or heard of such a martial technique in the Qingyun starry sky. It was strange to the extreme and ruthless to the extreme. It could cut your body into dozens of pieces, but you didn't die. Who could bear such torture? It seems that we can't provoke him easily. Even if we have something on him, we have to think carefully before we act. Senior sister Qing frowned and thought to herself with fear. It seems that your cultivation can't hold on for long. You've fallen from the peak of the 9th grade star Emperor Realm to the star Venerable Realm, and it's still falling? Looking down at the heads of the two brothers, Wang Kai touched his nose and said with a smile, quite surprised. It had only been dozens of breaths, but their cultivation had fallen to such a miserable state. Even if the two brothers were strange, they had a lot of weaknesses. No wonder you're in such a miserable state. Speaking of which, you're not wrong. Wang Kai shrugged and shook his head with a smile. Hearing this, the two brothers looked miserable. Indeed, the ability to absorb other people's power for one's own use was really awesome. Chapter 873. Only the heaven-devouring beast could kill them? Hearing this, Wang Kai's eyebrows slightly twitched. He could not help but take down the halberd from his waist and thrust it into the ground. I have to say that we are really fated to meet. Do you know what he is? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled playfully. The dragon and tiger brothers looked at each other and carefully examined the heavenly halberd. Although they could not see its power level, they were sure that it was a very powerful weapon. It's just a high-grade weapon. Why are you asking such a simple question? Brother Dragon said disdainfully. Brother Tiger also curled his lips and said disdainfully, I have seen many powerful weapons. In the Unbreakable Territory's main city, we even played with the dragon's splitting scimitar used by the Territory Lord. Unbreakable Territory's main city, dragon splitting scimitar? Wang Kai was shocked. He also understood why the brothers were so miserable. They even dared to cheat the Territory Lord's weapon. It would be strange if they were not hunted down. Or rather, it was already very powerful for them to be able to survive in the unbreakable territory. This weapon is called the Heavenly Halberd. Its level is indeed very high. I won't tell you its exact level. In short, There is no weapon in the Qingyun territory that can be compared to it. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and said calmly, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points." The dragon and tiger brothers naturally did not believe this and thought that Wang Kai was bragging. However, for the sake of freedom, they nodded their heads and said yes on the surface. Haha, it seems that you don't realize the importance of this. The weapon spirit of this heavenly halberd is the heaven-devouring beast that you are afraid of. Wang Kai said calmly, Yes. The heavenly halberd is very powerful. It is the #1 weapon in the Qingyun territory. The weapon spirit is the heaven-devouring. F***CK. What did you just say? Before Brother Long finished speaking, he had already reacted. His face turned pale from fright. Brother Tiger's eyes widened. He, who was already decapitated, looked like a corpse. Bin Xiao said that the weapon spirit within this halberd is the heaven-devouring beast. Wang Kai placed his hands behind his back as he smiled faintly. This is impossible. Brother Long roared. That's right. The heaven-swallowing beasts have been extinct for who knows how many years. The younger tiger brother also seemed unwilling to be outdone and loudly denied. Wang, whoosh. However, when the halberd floated into the air and a power that seemed capable of devouring the heavens was emitted from it, the dragon and tiger brothers were so frightened that they were speechless. Who are these two idiots? I'm still alive and well. Why do they have to say that I'm extinct? The heaven-devouring beast snorted in displeasure. This, the dragon and tiger brothers felt as if they had fallen into a bottomless hell, unable to extricate themselves for a long time. What should we do, Brother Tiger? If we don't agree with him, we will definitely be eaten by that D***MN heaven-devouring beast. Brother Long secretly transmitted a message to Brother Tiger. Brother Tiger's decapitated head swayed and his eyes rolled as he replied secretly, Brother Long, why don't we agree with him first and pretend to be obedient to him? Then we can lure him into the unbreakable territory's domain master city. As long as the news of the heaven-devouring beast still alive reaches the domain master's ears, he will definitely die. Good idea. Wonderful. This is really wonderful. The heaven-devouring beast is too dangerous. It can even devour the sky region. Luckily, it was exterminated by the 9 domain masters a long time ago. Now, there's a living one Brother Long praised with a smile. After the dragon and tiger brothers finished their discussion, they said in unison, Restore us. We are willing to follow you to act tough. Whoosh! Hearing this, Wang Kai was not surprised. Since they had a natural enemy, like the heaven-devouring beast, it was reasonable for them to agree to submit to him. However, Wang Kai naturally did not believe that they would sincerely submit to him. No matter what they were planning, Wang Kai did not care at all. Boss, go and put their bodies back in their original positions. Wang Kai said indifferently with his hands behind his back. Yes, young Master Kai. Boss Suofeng hurriedly responded and placed the scattered body parts neatly together. Thank you, boss. Thank you. The dragon and tiger brothers winked and smiled to please him. However, Boss Suofeng did not care about them at all. He glanced at them coldly and snorted. Then, he continued to take care of the unconscious Suofeng Shen Nu. If Wang Kai had not subdued them, Boss Suofeng would have severely punished them. In the future, you must be loyal and honest. Otherwise, Bin Xiao will never give a second chance to live. Wang Kai said indifferently. He raised his hand and infused a stream of stellar source energy into their bodies. Buzz! Then, with Wang Kai's energy, the dragon and tiger brothers' bodies instantly recovered. I thought we could recover completely after putting our bodies in their original positions. I did not expect that we would still need his special energy. Brother Long frowned and thought to himself, in that case, if he provoked Wang Kai again and his body was split apart without his strength, how could he recover? Until now, the dragon and tiger brothers were still hesitating whether they should bring him to the domain lord city and set him up. Little did they know that even without Wang Kai's energy, They could recover completely in 2 hours if they put their bodies in their original positions. Wang Kai had done that to create an illusion for them, an illusion that they would not be able to recover if they left him. After all, to deal with people like the Dragon and Tiger brothers who could not die, apart from the absolute threat of the heaven-devouring beast, he had to leave them with another threat, something that would instill fear even though it would not cost them their lives. Let's go. Let's continue to the Domain Lord City. Wang Kai picked up the teacup and drank the tea in one gulp. He then carried the sky halberd on his back and hung it at his waist. What? Where are we going? The Domain Lord City? Did I hear it wrong? The Dragon and Tiger brothers were startled when they heard this. They suddenly felt a little terrified. Could it be that Wang Kai already knew their plan? Was that why he purposely said they were going to the Domain Lord City? Why are you talking so much nonsense? Young Master Kai said we were going to the Domain Lord City, so let's go. If you don't want to, you could become young Master Kai's food. Eldest Zhuofang scolded unhappily. Zhuofang's second and Zhuofang's third brothers also glared at him. Ugh, no problem. The Dragon and Tiger brothers immediately waved their hands. They exchanged glances with one another and frowned. Their thoughts drifted away. Bastards, how dare you return to the Domain Lord City? There's no need to return. Just die here. Suddenly, following a few reprimands, dozens of figures could be seen walking over from the distant sky. Their bodies were filled with a strong, murderous aura. Chapter 874. Young Master Kai, they want to kill us. Brother Long raised his head and immediately turned pale with fright. He hurriedly cupped his fists towards Wang Kai and asked for help. Brother Tiger, who was beside him, was also quite shocked. He could only place his hopes on Wang Kai. If they had not met Wang Kai here and died in his hands, the two brothers would have already left Crouching Dragon Mountain and gone to another place to hide. They would not have been caught by the pursuers. Yes, 36 people. 6 of them are low-level star gods. 1 is a mid-level star god, and the rest are all level 9 star emperors. I'm afraid that such cultivations are extraordinary. Who are they? Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and spoke with a smile with an indifferent expression. Young Master Kai, they are from the Misty House in the Broken Territory's main city. They have been chasing us for a long time, especially the leader, young Master Xianming. He is very hateful. Brother Long frowned and said with extreme displeasure, That's right. They do not dare to fight with us. They only want to imprison us. Young Master Xianming even wants to tear our bodies apart, saying that he wants to find out the reason for our physiques. Although our bodies will be torn apart, we will not die. However, to be treated like this by a group of men, it is really bad luck. Brother Tiger said with disgust, Cough, cough, young Master Kai. You should be careful. That young Master Xianming is an idiot who likes men. He likes handsome and talented men the most. Brother Long reminded with a smile. Good men? Moreover, they had to be handsome and talented? Wang Kai was startled when he heard this. He could not help but touch his nose and said with speechlessness, Isn't he talking about Ben Shao? Ben Shao's appearance is unparalleled in all the realms. His talent is so strong that all the realms bow down to him. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Brother Long and Brother Tiger were dumbfounded. Although Wang Kai's appearance was indeed handsome and his talent was definitely strong, it was not to the extent that he had said. Wasn't he too good at bragging? Oh, what a handsome young master. What a beautiful woman. When the 36 practitioners floated down from the sky, they were led by a young man in a blue robe. His appearance was extraordinarily handsome, and his temperament was something that countless women yearned for. However, his voice was sharp and ear-piercing, the type that was neither male nor female. Especially his hand gestures, which were impressively pinching the thumb and middle finger of an orchid. As he walked, he even twisted his fingers, which was really awkward to look at. This guy is indeed a man. Moreover, he's a F*** King Bottom. Wang Kai rubbed his nose and said rather speechlessly, "Young master, what's your name? And that cross-dressing girl, what's your relationship with this young master?" Young master, Xianming narrowed his eyes and walked in front of Wang Kai with a fragrant scent. Smelling the strong and pungent fragrance, Wang Kai frowned. He immediately raised his hand and slapped her without any explanation. Pa! Bang! Rumble! In an instant, under the slap, young master Xuanming's body flew up into the sky like a meteor. Even his figure could not be seen clearly from such a height. Damn it! Ben Shao can't stand it. Wang Kai pinched his nose and said rather disdainfully. Wang Kai completely did not notice that after the slap, just now, everyone was stunned on the spot. Whether it was his side or young Master Xuanming's side, everyone was dumbfounded. They had never imagined that young Master Xianming, who was known as the Unbreakable Domain, would be sent flying with a single slap. That was a middle-grade star god. Not good. Young Master Xianming. After a long while, the experts of the Misty House came back to their senses and hurriedly rushed up into the sky. As for taking revenge on Wang Kai, they did not have that thought at all. Even young Master Xianming was sent flying with a single slap. If they went over, it would be impossible for them to survive. Now, they only wanted to ensure young Master Xuanming's safety. Otherwise, when they returned to the Misty House, they would definitely be killed. Young Master Kai, you are really awesome." Brother Long swallowed his saliva and said with admiration. Brother Tiger, who was beside him, was already speechless from shock. At first, he thought that Wang Kai was only a low-grade star god. He did not expect that even young Master Xianming, a middle-grade star god, could not withstand a single slap. Little did he know that Wang Kai was also a middle-grade star god. Moreover, he was a middle-grade star god at the 6th-grade star god realm. As for young Master Xianming, he was only a 5th-grade star god. Although both sides did not release their star power, Wang Kai was very confident that no matter how strong his opponent was, it was impossible for him to have a 10th-grade star power. As long as it was not 10th grade, with his 9th-grade star power, what was there to be afraid of? That's for sure. Didn't Ben Shao always emphasize that Ben Shao is awesome? It's just young Master Xianming. Even if he's not a domain master, Ben Shao only needs to blow a breath to kill him. Wang Kai shrugged and said with an indifferent expression, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points." Cough, cough. Yes. Young Master Kai is the most awesome. Young Master Kai is the most powerful. Young Master Kai can F***CK a tiger at 3 years old. Brother Dragon and Brother Tiger awkwardly said in unison. What? What can 3 years old do? Wang Kai heard them and frowned. His face was slightly dark as he looked at them and asked, "Young Master Kai, what they mean is that when you were 3 years old, you could F***CK a tiger." Brothers Wafong grinned and said, his eyes full of malice, "Once there was a chance to avenge Zuofeng. How could they let it go? Go F***CK yourself. Don't F***king bullshit. Us brothers didn't mean that." Yes, that's right. What we brothers meant was that young Master Kai could kill a tiger at 3 years old. Only you can F***CK a tiger, right? Brother Dragon and Brother Tiger angrily scolded loudly. Okay, stop arguing. Next time you flatter Ben Shao, pay attention to your words. Wang Kai waved his hand and said impatiently, "Bang, bang, bang." At the same time, young Master Xianming and the others quickly returned from the sky. However, they didn't choose to return to where Wang Kai and the others were. Instead, they sped off into the distance. Seeing this scene, Wang Kai's mouth slightly twitched. He naturally knew that they were afraid of his cultivation and directly ran away. "Young Master Kai, are we just going to let it go like this?" Brother Dragon frowned and asked. If there was a chance to kill young Master Xianming and the others, then there would be one less problem in the future. Unfortunately, no matter how strong Brother Dragon and Brother Tiger were, they couldn't kill the other party. The other party simply didn't know how to fight with them and only used imprisonment tactics. Why bother with them? They're just a bunch of small fries. Wang Kai waved his hand and said with an unconcerned smile. Chapter 875. It's just that letting them go like this will bring disaster to us. Brother Long frowned and said worriedly. Brother Tiger's face was also very ugly. Although Wang Kai's cultivation was unfathomable, he was not qualified to face the powerful forces in the city of Unbreakable Region. After all, before reaching the Sovereign Realm, one person could not fight against a force. If they let young Master Xianming go this time, the next one would definitely be a fatal blow. They are right. The Misty House is the third strongest force in the city of Unbreakable Region. Although it is third, it is not much weaker than the second Wang family. Senior Sister Qing said, with a hidden meaning. Hearing this, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows slightly. He naturally understood that she was reminding him to be careful when dealing with the Misty House. Even if his cultivation was strong, he had to think about whether he could defeat a force that was not weaker than the Wang family. However, Wang Kai had no relationship with the Wang family in the city of Unbreakable Region. How would he know how strong they were? How would he measure the Misty House? You need to know something very important. No matter how strong a force or how strong a cultivator is, they're all little brothers to Ben Shao. Wang Kai shrugged and said with a disdainful smile, Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 7th grade Star God Realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 7th grade Star Source points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the upper grade Star God Realm. Do you want to activate the Vanishing Shadow function? Hearing the series of notifications, Wang Kai was stunned. Vanishing Shadow function? Or was it asking to activate or not? Usually, when one reached a certain level, the function would be activated automatically. But this time it was a request. There must be a reason for this abnormality. What is the Vanishing Shadow function? Is there any harm in activating it or not? Wang Kai frowned and asked with a puzzled expression. Host, the Vanishing Shadow function is a killing technique. It can kill or imprison other people's shadows, control them, and even kill them. The number of creatures killed will be determined by your cultivation base. Once it is activated, there will be a disadvantage. Every day, there will be an hour where one will enter an absolute mortal state. During this period of time, as a mortal, the host will lose all cultivation. After hearing the notification, Wang Kai came to a realization. This killing technique sounded quite powerful, but he would have to spend 2 hours as a mortal every day. In the mortal realm, wouldn't he become an ordinary person who could be trampled upon by others? Although this killing technique is not bad, Bin Xiao doesn't want to activate it. Wang Kai shrugged and activated his mind with an indifferent expression. To put it bluntly, killing techniques had not reached the level that Wang Kai valued. It was not worth the risk of losing his cultivation every day. Host, this killing technique ignores the cultivation of living beings. As long as you can get close to the opponent's shadow, you can kill or control it. Furthermore, with your current cultivation, you can only use it once a day on one target. Swoosh! As this prompt was sent out, Wang Kai was immediately stunned. What is this? It ignores the opponent's cultivation base? In that case, even if I meet an opponent of the Sovereign Realm, I can use the Vanishing Shadow killing technique to control or kill him. There is no risk? Wang Kai squinted his eyes, and his heart was beating fast. If this killing technique could really ignore the opponent's cultivation base, it would be absolutely awesome. Exactly. After hearing the notification from the system, Wang Kai immediately pursed his lips and felt that his mouth was a little dry. He could only blame himself for needing this killing technique too much. With this killing technique, who would he need to care about? Wouldn't he be able to kill whoever he liked? If the system reaches the update period, will this function still be effective? Wang Kai frowned and activated his mind to ask. No. When the system enters the update period, all functions will disappear. After hearing the notification, Wang Kai was a little disappointed, but he didn't care too much. After all, the functions were in the system. As the system entered the update period, it was only natural that the functions couldn't be used. Besides, once the system was updated, it would definitely become more powerful. As for Wang Kai, he only needed to avoid the update period. Activate the Vanishing Shadow function. Use it first to control all the people who can threaten Ben Xiao. Wang Kai squinted and smiled strangely. Congratulations, host, for successfully activating the Vanishing Shadow function. It is divided into 3 levels, and now it has reached level 1. Host, Wang Kai profession, Star Warrior Realm, 7th grade Star God title, unparalleled bragging technique, shaking heaven and earth star technique, Karma Dao technique star technique, 5 thunder sky covering palm, yin and yang, body turns into thunder and fire, star trampling identification, torch dragon eye vanishing shadow, level 1 equipment, heavenly halberd star power, level 9 astral origin points, 3, 600 physique, invulnerable guardian beast, none bragging points, 480000 experience, 04000000 as. The system page appeared in front of him. Wang Kai glanced at it casually and closed it with his mind. The Vanishing Shadow killing skill has a total of 3 levels. Now, it is only level 1, and it can only be used on 1 target per day. What about level 2? Or even the strongest level 3? Wang Kai squinted and asked curiously. Host, every time the Vanishing Shadow is upgraded, there will be 1 more target per day. After hearing the notification, Wang Kai's mouth twitched. In the end, the strongest level 3 Vanishing Shadow could only control or kill 3 targets per day. However, when he thought about the fact that he could ignore the opponent's cultivation, Wang Kai didn't care. With the Vanishing Shadow function, the number of targets didn't matter much. After all, only sovereigns could pose a threat to Wang Kai. Moreover, there are only 9 sovereigns in the Qingyun Starry Sky. As for the 9 sovereigns in the Qingyun Starry Sky, Wang Kai didn't know whether it was true or not. He only knew about it from Zhuo Fong Shenu. What are you thinking about? Feeling the silence around her and Wang Kai's rapidly changing complexion, senior sister Qing didn't know why, but she suddenly felt a sense of unease. When does Ben Xiao want to put you on the bed? How many ways will he use to fuck you? Wang Kai shrugged and said with a playful smile. Whoosh. Hearing this, senior sister Qing's face suddenly darkened, and her beautiful eyes were filled with anger. Wang Kai, since you have such a high cultivation, you will definitely become an expert respected by countless people in the Qingyun Starry Sky. Why do you have to behave like this? Senior sister Qing frowned and scolded him in a cold voice. Hearing this, Wang Kai's eyebrows raised slightly. He could not help but rub his chin as he said in a rather amused manner, Do you think that an expert should have a good character? No, at least he should behave like an expert. He shouldn't behave like a child like you. So childish and casual, senior sister Qing said lightly. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.